Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody all around the world, hello and welcome to another episode of The Watchman with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are. I got my coffee, I got my drink, and we got a whole slew of news, action, debates, and comments to discuss with you on today in the world of boxing and beyond. We got call-outs from Ryan Garcia against Shakur Stevenson in a deliberate attempt to make the fight at 140 pounds, moving back down from his most recent championship win at 147. Is it actually possible? Can he actually do it? Is that a detriment to his own abilities against what would be one of the other or the second type of fight or potentially the type of fight of his career, comparing how you feel with him versus Shakur versus him versus Tank? But either way, talking about moving back down to 140, can he actually get there? That's the biggest question amongst other things. Also, we had to talk about a little bit more involving Gervonta Davis' return. We discussed the issues of the comeback. We've discussed the concerns of said, what do we want to see from him coming back? But let's talk about reality. We need to have a conversation. Who would actually be the opponent that Tank would come back against in his return this year? Who is it that is a feasible, viable, and real name that we can see him go against beyond just what we want to see as a matchup potential? All that and so much more. We gotta talk about what today. We also gotta talk about Conor Ben. Him signing a deal with Zuffa and now getting confirmed to have a fight against Regis Prograis, essentially making him the biggest or the most lucrative undercard fighter we've had in boxing history in a one-fight deal with Zuffa Boxing. Oh my goodness, he just pulled the rug. Did he just pull the rug on Zuffa and get a huge payday for a fighter that, for most people, we most likely feel Conor Ben's going to get that win? We're going to talk about all that and much more. We also got some drama with Frank Warren and Turkey Al Sheik suing each other. Frank Warren suing Turkey. Reaction to that and a bunch of other things in the world of boxing as well as beyond in the sports world with the basketball, with the NBA, with the NFL, and so much more. Combine's coming up, I believe, this weekend or next week. I can't remember exactly. But either way, it's going to be a whole host of conversation. I can't wait to talk about it with you all. If you're just tuning in, hey, leave a like on the stream and go ahead and get the likes up and let the world know about the hottest show in all the globe. Come on, get the likes up on the stream, and please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Come and join the empire. Be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Listen to us on Apple, Spotify, you name it. We are there for you to be able to have in your pocket, in your home, wherever you are, so you can listen to us on the go. Also, please be sure to hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube. And the most important thing, please be sure to share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. Yes, indeed. All with you and your support, we can make this possible to grow, flourish, shine, and be absolutely incredible together. And no question about it. But with all that being said, we got a monumental show to have today. We got a lot to cover. We got a short amount of time to do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to do what we do best. It's time to work. It's time to shine. It's time to go and entertain the people. And it is time to step into the ring. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on. Let's get it started. Let's get it popping. Oh, by the way, Cash App, PayPal, links down below if you want to keep on supporting this show, as well as super chats and super gifts and all of the like. But the biggest thing that we need to talk about to lead off this show is the conversation surrounding Ryan Garcia. Yes, indeed. And him calling out the likes of Shakur to fight at 140 pounds. Oh, my. Oh, my. Oh, boy. Now this is getting sketchy. Again, it's been a back and forth affair of what exactly is going to be the fight that we see Ryan Garcia take next. Again, we have Bill Haney talking about in 2 days. We're going to see whether or not either get a fight announcement with him and Ryan Garcia or something goes down with them. We've also had Ryan Garcia calling out Shakur Stevenson inside the ring. And now in the most recent development of action in lieu of the whole seesaw of competition that we can see Ryan Garcia take from one spectrum or the other at 147 and 140. He is now going on social media and on Twitter and essentially said, I will fight Shakur at 140 pounds after he transitioned over into the world of picture-in-picture. You can see right here. Hey, he said it best. Forget the catch weight. Let's do it for real. I want to take your belt and snatch it right off you. Again, talking about Shakur Stevenson saying we don't need no catch weight. We don't need to fight at 144. We don't need to do the things of normal that we were talking about earlier in cinching the ability to the fight. That I would love to see this fight. And Shakur was saying he wants at a catch weight. He wants a rehydration limit. He wants it so that there's no issues abounding when it comes to not just ostarine and steroids and all that stuff with violent testing, but he wants to make sure that Ryan Garcia can't blow up to Kingdom Come. Now Ryan said, hey, bump that. I'll just come back to where you are and I'll just beat you like I know I can beat you. I'll do what I did against Devin Haney to you at your division. That's what he's saying, and that's the case. My goodness, that brings up a whole slew of questions, a whole slew of conversation, an entire unique perspective that we have to look at and looking and watching how this fight can unfold, because the biggest issue amongst all of this essentially, I don't want to call it trash talk, but all this essential throwing jabs and straight up saying I'll come back to where you are and I will go and win again. The biggest question is, can he make the weight? Can he make the weight in the first place? Mind you, the last time he fought at 140, yes, he came in overweight, drunk himself out of the division from the standpoint of was drinking beer on stage, or allegedly drinking beer on stage, going through, weighing in at 143. None of the fight weighed in however much he wanted to be completely honest, because of the fact that he took the fine, paid it off, and then said, okay, I'm going to still do what I'm going to do. Now, coming back down after going and looking incredible at 140, which he did look incredible. Be clear, we are not trying to mess that up from the standpoint of lying about what his performance was. It was perfection. It was great from the standpoint of destruction. Excuse me, I tried to take some drink. But watching him at 140, yeah, it was incredible. It made sense. It was worthwhile. It was worth the time. It was something that had the public up in arms. Okay, this is the Ryan Garcia that we love and we want to see. But the brother, again, is big at 147. He can get bigger. And at 140, already it was like, no, we know he can make it. It was like, most likely sooner or later, which came about, he's going to get out of this division. Him dropping weight to come back down to 154, 147, to come back down to 140 from 147, I don't know how comfortably he can do it. I don't. Now, that also hinges on, again, the discipline. Part of this whole conversation with Shakur, if one of the themes is discipline, fighting against Ryan Garcia, but the discipline argument is against Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, in any framework of life and operating in the boxing world, he's had to have real discipline. He's had to have some legitimate stability surrounding him and his ability. And everything about him up until this point has been on an up and down slope. Now he's back with his dad, like we talked about earlier, or like we talked about earlier in the week. Now he's back apparently getting his health like it needs to be, looking as shredded as ever. If he keeps this type of discipline, maybe, yeah, we can see him come through and make 140. It might actually be feasible to come back down to 140. Fight Shakur. I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm not saying he's going to lose. I'm just saying he can get there. The issue is making the track. What is the catch? Because what would be astronomical is if we saw Ryan Garcia come down to his division straight up and be able to operate, stay healthy, stay clean, and be still fully filled out, per se. Because mind you, we were saying at 140 when he faced off against Oscar Duarte, when he got to the division after moving out of 135, oh my gosh, hey, he looked great. If he can look as good as he did against Mario Barrios at 140, phenomenal. But the issue is, again, the question, can he even get down there comfortably in the first place to be able to get on the scales and say, okay, hey, with this fight to go without any issues or problems? I don't know. I don't. And that one question that has me saying, as much as I want to see the fight with Ryan Garcia and Shakur, how feasible is it? Although it would be one of the biggest fights in the world. Though it would be, as I've said before, one of the biggest events in the globe, either him or Shakur or him or Devin Haney, one of those two. Mega fights, no question. You can have your A-side, B-side talk. You can have your who's the bigger star talk now if they got in the ring with each other. You can have who deserves more money. You can have all those questions. That's all in good. Great conversation and debate. Great perspective, no question. But that doesn't answer the biggest hurdle. Brother, can he get there? And if he can, are we just going to have to wait? That's part of the reason why I'm saying I think we're going to see Devin Haney, even though they're talking a lot. Even though Shakur and Ryan, they're talking a lot. They're drawing a lot. Every other interview, they're saying something about each other. Social media, they're going at each other. We understand that. This is part of the reason why I don't think we're going to see Ryan fight Shakur, at least next. Because I don't think we're going to see Ryan go down. And I doubt, not saying Shakur is ducking, but I'm saying I doubt with Shakur's original cue of wanting to fight Ryan Garcia at a catch weight, 144 with a rehydration clause, so that he can't rehydrate up to potentially 154 or whatever the case may be. I doubt Ryan is going to take that and say, yeah, that's doable. I doubt it. Because this type of momentum, you don't want to lose it because all of a sudden you can't perform at your level. Especially going against somebody like a Shakur Stevenson, who you need to be all systems going up against that buddy. That's a bad man. That's a bad man. That's a bad man. I'm serious. You can't lack anything. Nothing. And I do mean nothing fighting against Shakur Stevenson. So I have my big time doubts that we'll get that fight with Shakur. Though that's a fight that, again, is huge. Because I don't know if while all this talk is going on, I don't know what I can buy into. Because I'm looking at the framework of where they're respectively at. Shakur feels comfortable, feels fine. Ryan looks and feels probably the best he's felt in a mighty long time fighting at this division at 147. Him compromising that to go down against somebody who is one of the best 4 fighters in the globe, I don't think it's smart for him to do that. Rather, wait for I'm not going to say wait, but see if Shakur may look to move up or start to grow, because he's still incredibly young. And that man frame, that physical, athletic prowess is still developing in Shakur Stevenson, even though he looks phenomenal. And his body, again, is malleable. But maybe sooner than you think we can see Shakur Stevenson be like, I need to make some changes. If that's the case, I can fall into, okay, we can get the fight, still be big, still be huge, and still have it so that we get two of the best at their best from the standpoint of physical talent, physical health, going at it where, okay, all this talk of catch weight, coming down, coming up, doesn't have to happen because we're both where we need to be when we're fighting each other. At least from my perspective, that's what I would want to see. But it's just interesting because I just do not know. I just don't know. Also, let me see. QQ Herman, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So happy to see you. Appreciate you coming in on the live. I was trying to make sure, I was trying to talk and make sure everything was working properly. Wasn't trying to avoid your question. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that you chatting on. Appreciate you coming in. Hey, please leave a like on the stream if you haven't already. Come on and leave a like on the stream. Give your thoughts and conversation. We want to see your thoughts in the chat down below on anything involving the world of boxing and beyond. We're talking about Ryan Garcia and him calling out Shakur at 140. Isn't even feasible for Ryan Garcia to make weight at 140. I'm of the notion that no, it's not. And mind you, we've been talking about that fight in the immediate post-fight that we had after our live stream commentary for Shakur versus Ryan Garcia versus Mario Barrios. In that immediate conversation, we said we would love to see that fight. And all the conversation since then has been under the guise that at least the catch weight was the thing that was on the table for Ryan and Shakur as definitive. That's what he's entertaining at most. But if he's now entertaining going down all the way, I just am concerned. I don't know if he can do that comfortably. Though he just came from that division, I just don't know. Especially since the fact that he looks like at 147, he could be the second best fighter there. Run the table, get titles, and get belts at 140. I'm sorry, at 147. He beat Barrios, who was widely considered, whether you think it's fair or not, the worst champion in the welterweight division. He's got Devin Haney at the top of the food chain. Absolutely. You got Brian Norman. Ryan Garcia can beat Brian Norman. You have, and outside of that, those are your biggest tests for the standpoint of comparative talent with how he looked on tonight. Barrios, we said this earlier in the build-up, we said this subsequently with the build-up to the fight. Barrios was a barometer. He was a standard. He was a stick bearer for where you can compete at this level in the division. And somewhat in boxing as a whole, when it comes to you being talked about amongst the other four kings of the sport: Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez. Amongst that set, where do you belong, and do you even belong in that conversation if you can't beat Barrios handily? And with him beating him in the way that he beat him, he can go, you can look at 147 and say, hey, Ryan beats Abel Ramos, he beats Stanlini, he beats Stanionis, he beats Cruel, he beats, I dare say, with how easily he was able to beat Mario Barrios, though again Manny Pacquiao was incredible, he probably beats Pacquiao. Simply because he's not greater, but because of the fact, again, just his age and current ability at this point in time with what he just showed. And the ability, okay, I can actually box. I can legit box. You wouldn't be surprised to say, hey, he beats Manny Pacquiao if they ever fought each other as well. And currently, per the Transnational Boxing Ranking Board, one of the most reputable sources of pound-for-pound rankings, ranked number 3. Why do you think that's too high or too low? Understandable. But right there. But amongst anybody else, if it ain't Brian Norman or Devin Haney, and more importantly, most likely if it ain't Devin Haney specifically, you can see Ryan Garcia beat everybody in this division. You can see him going almost undisputed. You can see him unified, taking the belts. People with the belts may not have as much meaning to boxers now due to what we've seen with Terrence Crawford, due to what we've seen with Shakur Stevenson and the rhetoric behind him, especially with the WBC, taking more money, trying to steal from the pockets of fighters, and we still don't know where it's being used at in the whole of the pie. It might have degraded in value, but it still does mean something. It still has some level of weight. It still has a necessary gravity. And it will do wonders for his legacy. So I'm very unsure now that we see that fight with Ryan Garcia versus Shakur next. Because I'm not saying Ryan Garcia's ducking. No, nor am I saying Shakur. But I'm also looking at the picture of where they are at in their careers and what they can do going about their careers with them at their best. Where is that limit before you start dipping and ducking from the standpoint of your own performance? And for some people, once you move up, moving back down ain't nearly as easy. But everybody ain't Tommy Hearns. Tommy Hearns was moving up 142. He was moving up to 147, 154, 175, came back down. He was doing it all. Middleweight, light heavyweight, welterweight, super welterweight. Wherever you would, he could just float. He had that physical prowess. Ryan, we've seen him move up. We never seen him move back down. Same thing with Shakur Stevenson. Shakur has lingered a little bit more in divisions as time has gone on of recent, except for this fight with Tia where he moved up and then boom, did what he needed to do. But again, the biggest thing for me with Ryan, I just don't know if we can see that fight happen. If it's going that low at 140. With, again, rehydration clause. Because I doubt he wants to go through that same thing that he did with Tank. I doubt that he wants to go through that again. even if it's a lot more manageable at 140. I doubt he wants to deal with that type of conversation yet again. He's already got to deal with these still lingering notions of violent testing, having himself be essentially ridiculed. Well, ridicule might be the wrong word. I'm sorry, I feel like something was on my shirt. Shoot, but never mind. But either way, ridicule might be the wrong word. But chastised with the memories of the past, with them popping dirty, with it being used against him, even throughout the night of the fight and subsequently afterwards. Was he on oxygen? Was he clean? If he fights me, he's got to be clean. He's already got to go through. He's already got to go through that. Excuse me. I doubt he wants to go through the added thing of reliving the whole ordeal of having to come in potentially drained and not able to be fully what you need to be in a fight with another catchweight situation. So I just don't know. Because of that, starting to think that Ryan versus Shakur, while he called out Shakur at 140, the viability to be happening, I'm a little bit sketchy now. If it was still at the catchweight limit, or really, yeah, I would have been a little bit more comfortable. Catchweight with a 10-pound rehydration, we're having a different conversation. That's why I was entertaining that fight in the first place. That's where my mind was when we were talking about it. But now, a little bit shaky. Don't know. We'll keep an eye on this up until the point. But again, it's getting very interesting, but it's what we want to see. The volatility at 140 and 147. This is the type of movement that we expected from these types of big-time stars, and it's now becoming a consistent thing. And I do love that. The fact that we're getting this fight as two big fights for the same brother on the table, both of which will sell out multiple arenas, multiple states, and do numbers regardless. In a pick your poison scenario where everybody would tune in. This is beautiful. And we want to see this for boxing more often. And we love it. No question about it. We love it. But even still, we got more to cover. We have a lot more to cover on this show on today. Like with the likes of when talking about the world. Hold on. Wait a minute. Is something? Nope. We're good. Hold on a minute. Is it? Hold on. Tank. Is something breaking with Tank Davis? Hold on. Time out. Hold on. Trying to take some news on Tank. Wait a minute. Is this? Nope. Dang it, I got food. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was looking at, I thought I had seen something pop across my timeline about a further Tank, what's the word? No, excuse me, a more concrete, essentially call out from Tank Davis and or announcement of who Tank's opponent was going to be coming back. I got fooled. False alarm. My apologies. I didn't mean to get your hopes up. I'm sorry. But it does segue into the next topic of discussion in the world of boxing, and that is the idea of Gervonta Davis's return. Yes, we talked about it earlier in the week, but we talked about more so the frustration behind said return. Again, we didn't want to turn it into a Tank specific conversation. It kind of bled into some other things, but still it was relevant because everybody wanted to talk about Tank coming back. Everybody wanted to talk about what Calvin Ford was saying. Everybody was discussing who in fact was going to be the man that we wanted to see go across the ring against the Tank man himself, one of the most high profile, prolific, and violent names in the sport in more ways than one, if you catch my drift. But even still, that's horrible. I'm sorry. That's a horrible joke. But even still, I digress and I do apologize. But with this volatility came a lot of names, a lot of speculation. Who the Warriors are going to fight? Where would he fight? What would be the purpose? Was he going after a title? Would he fight the names that we've been asking to fight for a number of years? Now that we've seen Tio, Shakur, Devin, Ryan all get in these big time affairs and fight on a level and scale of matching their star power, where is Tank in all of this? Now that he says he's going to come back, and with Calvin Ford's words, the world is missing him. The world wants to see their biggest star come back. All that may be well and good, but speculation about all that stuff, the whole of the pie, can get a little bit muddy. Let's streamline this conversation a little bit. Walk with me. Streamline this. And I would love to hear your thoughts. I will put it in the chat if you can. While we're talking in chat, we want to understand, throughout all the mess, all the noise, all of the convoluted nature abounding about Tank's career at this point in time, with the excitement of him coming back, being on everybody's front page, who in fact is going to be the guy? Not who we want to see. I mind you, there's a difference. There's a difference. Not who we want to see. Who's going to be the guy that he comes back with? Who's going to be the man? Who's going to be the man? Again, and this is the second topic of the show. Who's going to be the man that we see Tank come back against? And please, if you would, leave a like on the stream. Keep on sharing the show. We want to hear your thoughts and opinions. And if you want to support Shameless Plug, Cash App, PayPal, as well as Super Chats and Super Gifts, if you can give, would mean the world to me. But even still, Tank, no matter what we say, we have to look at this from a perspective beyond just the goggles of our fandom and the goggles of the dream fight scenarios. We have to look at where he lies in his own framework of boxing and what he would actually come back in with, how he's been going about his career up until this point. We can say that Calvin Ford, when he said it's going to be somebody easy that Tank fights against, well, Tank says everybody easy. Everybody's easy to fight. Everybody's easy for him to win. Ain't nobody on his level, so anybody's on the table. That's not true. That's not true at all. Be clear, that's not true at all. Whoever told you that is a bold-faced lie. Whoever told you that dream that everybody's on the table for Tank is a bold-faced lie. Bold-faced lie. From the track record of who Tank fights, there's a certain barometer of threat level that I don't think he's going to go above in his first fight back. If he does, I will be surprised. But I'm not like everybody else from the standpoint of, and this is not disrespect, but I don't think we're going to see a competitive affair in Tank's first fight back in almost a year since the fight with Lamont Roach. And that's because anybody of Lamont Roach's caliber, I don't see him coming back for. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Anybody of that ilk, that caliber, that level of talent, I don't see him coming back for. Not at all. And guess what? We talked about this on Tuesday, but we're also, the more I'm thinking about it, I don't think we're going to see it. Even Tank versus O'Shaquie Foster at 135 pounds, with O'Shaquie coming up, would sound like a phenomenal fight. It would sound like a fight that, hey, following the track of Lamont Roach, with O'Shaquie Foster looking great against Stephen Fulton, as well as O'Shaquie being a champion, just like with Stephen Fulton, or I believe it's a champion, just like with Stephen Fulton before O'Shaquie Foster being a champion, I believe, just like what we saw when Lamont Roach was a champ and moved up to fight Tank. Everything looks like it lines up. O'Shaquie been calling him and everybody else out. So, writing's on the wall, ain't it? Makes sense, don't it? Great performer, long, looks like he got some good power. Everything seems to be there. Okay, he might be able to give him a threat. We could see it happen. Because he's even remotely in that conversation, he can do what Lamont did to Tank, and that could be a really good fight. I don't think we're going to see that fight. I don't. I dare say, I don't know if it's going to be of anybody that is of reputable talent that we see Tank fight against. Truly. I'm dead serious. And no matter how many names you can bring up, it won't be O'Shaquie Foster. It showed, unless we get a surprise and we see Emmanuel Navarrete, if he beats Nunes, go and move up and then get a fight with Tank Davis. Unless we see that, and that'll be a shock to me. If you follow Emmanuel Navarrete, that is a wacky, that's a wacky, wavy puncher. Looking like an inflatable tube, man, but nothing but destruction goes his way because you can't read him. You're not he's not fighting him. And O'Shaquie, as much as he called out, as much as he wants to talk about Tank or anybody else, I don't think we're going to get that type of fight because too good for the caliber of who Tank would want to return with. Not Eduardo Nunes because he's too much of a power puncher. 30-1, 28 KOs, about just about the same knockout ratio as Gervonta Davis. Not saying that he's better, but that type of threat, again, on the par with Lamar Welch, Isaac Cruz, as, oh my, he could potentially give those types of performances. Don't see it happen. Raymond Ford, I don't know their relationship, so they might fight, but most likely not. Lee Wood, I think he just had a fight coming back, unless I'm thinking of a different Wood that was fighting over the course of a couple weekends. But anybody within these names that you would think, okay, hey, would make sense. I don't know if we're going to see that as who we're going to see come back. I don't. And this is the downside to Tank's career, rather the downside to his ability to be a big star. The fact is, it's not going to take anything for us to tune in from the standpoint of competitive fervor when it comes to Tank Davis, because everybody just wants to see Tank, which is a testament to his star power. No question. Fine. Absolutely. We can talk about the stuff outside the ring, but that's a whole nother conversation. Inside the ring, everybody wants to see him fight. We get that. But at the same time, competition and Tanks do not line up together. And he, sure enough, has not been taking competition of a consistent rate at his same threshold of elite caliber for a hot minute. Anybody even remotely around that, he's also skirted by. Cherry picking over the course of a number of years. Not going after unifying titles. Being given the WBA title, and then ultimately defended it once in a draw with Lamar Welch, and subsequently afterwards, again, with everything that transpired after, ain't done nothing since. Wasn't even going to fight somebody else at 135. Again, was going to fight Jake Paul. What makes me think that his next comeback fight, especially if he wants to keep the buzz going with his career and masterfully craft his legacy to the point that everybody will still buy into who Tank is. For Tank, what's the point of fighting somebody of great caliber? You would think, oh, he'll sign a fight with Isaac Cruz. Isaac's at 140, and let's be perfectly honest, if Tank fighting at 140 is a high improbability. He's got 8 fights he can make between 135 and 140. 8. That might be me being conservative. Yeah, Shakur, and especially now with Ryan Garcia, with the way that he's talking. Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, Abdullah Mason, Floyd Schofield, Dalton Smith, Gary Antoine Russell. Was that 6? If he really wants to be about it, Devin Haney at 147. Since we're getting the biggest of big, also saying they're coming back down to 140. So we might as well throw him in there too. And then at this, take your pick whoever you want afterwards. Lamar Roach, that's 8. Isaac Cruz, that's 9. Not to mention, hypothetically, we get a fight. Lord willing, and this is going to be lofty dreaming. Lord willing, we get a situation where all of a sudden we get Tank at a crossroads where he gets disrespected by Floyd Mayweather, and with the beef that they've had over the course of the years, with how they kind of fell out of favor with each other over the promotional ties. Who's to say we don't get a fight with them? Who knows in this day and age when it comes to the world of boxing? Who knows? Who knows? But their names, plenty and abounding. Titles to be taken. Worthy challengers that can test and prove the caliber of fighter that Tank is. Yet we just, as much as Calvin Ford can say, hey, the fans just want to see him. We're going to make it, we're going to get everything right. He's going to fight the person I think he needs to be in the ring with. Perfectly fine. I don't doubt that you're trying to do the best that you can for him, but at the same time, this is a part of a protective bubble that we as fans don't want to see you in anymore. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse of conversation, but that's the truth of the matter. We don't want to see you in this protective bubble of protecting your identity. We don't. Like, strictly inside the ring. Outside, yeah, get yourself right. But inside the ring, strictly inside the ring, we don't want to see Tank Davis in a bubble of protection when it comes to curating what his identity is to the sport. Because it's already set in stone. You are in fact, let me rephrase that. You are above the threshold that we have with Ryan Garcia right now. Ryan Garcia was a do or die, and if he lost, it was going to be a world of pain and a world of vitriol that came at him if he lost against Mario Barrios. But at the same time, before this fight with Barrios, he was still a huge star, even with losses on his resume. To you, Tank Davis, and the stinking Rolly, fully mirror of all people, the same Rolly that won't fight Devin Haney because he's too boring. The same Rolly that was slated to fight Conor Benn, but then now ain't fighting Conor Benn because Conor Benn is fighting Regis Progress. The same Rolly that has held the belt hostage since he won it against Ryan Garcia and hasn't had one title defense against anybody. That Rolly. He's lost to that and still carried a monumentous type of stardom. You are in a even bigger class of provocativeness as well as outright notoriety. That even with a potential loss, you had a draw on your record. Your record is already unstained, or rather stained to some degree, because of the fact that many people felt that you lost that fight with Lamont Roach, myself included. But you went through and still captivated the minds of people. If your record is blemished, you have enough cachet, it won't defeat you fully. You don't need to protect yourself to build up your name as if you are still a prospect coming out of the amateurs. And if you're still an Olympian trying to garner some interest around you from the boxing public. You don't need that anymore. There's no point. You're one of the heaviest hitters, one of the most exciting prolific fighters, one of the most translative stars that this sport has to offer. You are still, for better or for worse, you are still one of the biggest faces in this sport. That is still set in stone with everything going on. There is no need for you to still work as if one more loss is going to put you out to pasture. And we're going to say, 2 in the chest, 1 in the head, get this brother out of here. He's done. There's no point. We're not saying that. Nobody's saying that. But that's how you're moving. You're moving like one loss would go and irreparably damage you. One real test will go through and void everything that we've thought about you. But the fact of the matter is, because you're moving like you're moving, that very type of direction in career, trying to be so uber protective, has caused us to feel the very way that you don't want us to feel about you. Has caused the public to sour against you in a way that you didn't want to happen. Has caused the very nature of the fan base, both that are supporters of you and haters of you, all to come to the same page. My gosh, this cat really doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. And now they're listening, which what a lot of people weren't doing in the past. They are listening to the words of Tank more than just a fight in of itself. They're listening and paying attention. I want to leave and nobody's going to see me after I'm gone with my money. And I'm going to get my family, do what I need to do, get my help, and get out of here. I don't care about legacy. People are starting to listen, and people are starting to hold it against them, which they should. Instead of being blinded by the zeitgeist of the knockouts and the highlights, now the substance, especially now with what we see with Shakur Stevenson, what we see with Teofimo Lopez, what we see with David Benavidez, what we even see with Ryan Garcia, finally becoming a champion. And now getting ready to go against one of two of the biggest technical aficionados in the sport, in Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia, or Shakur Stevenson. We got David Benavidez getting ready to fight against Zurdo Ramirez after beating Anthony Yarde, knocking out Anthony Yarde. We were saying he didn't. When we were saying at 175 in light heavyweight, he didn't have power. Well, that's changed. All of a sudden, this man could beat arguably the second best or the best cruiserweight in the world, move his way up to heavyweight, or fight Jai Apatai within the span of this year. We've gotten Terrence Crawford beating Canelo, and for me, solidifying himself as one of the 10 greatest fighters I've ever seen in my life. We've had Usyk do what he's done at heavyweight. We've had, in a way, sweep 4 different divisions with the same ability of knockouts as you, but against far greater tests across the board than you. And now he's fighting the biggest fight of his entire life, going up against the one non-negotiable fighter that we have been hyping up for 4 years almost in Junto Nakatani for the undisputed championship at Super Bantamweight this month, on the same day, May 2nd, as Benavidez versus Zurdo. We've had undisputed time. We've had everybody around you, above you, and below you do something that's worthwhile and have their legacy be filled with some substance that we can all buy into and say, you know what, that's actually pretty good. We've had that. We've experienced that. And you, while all this was going on, mind you, wasn't just, not me just saying this because it's so while all this was going on, you still went and were taking what we consider easy fights per your caliber of talent. And the legacy staled. And now people, we are still going to be excited, but you have to understand, if you are a Gervonta Davis fan, the names that you want him to fight most likely are not going to be the names that he will fight. The names that you view as worthwhile for Tank Davis, the biggest of big when it comes to conversations and points of interest, championships, and anything else of an accolade perspective. We're telling you, I won't say we, I'll say in my opinion, put those hopes to bed. Put them to bed. Put them to bed. Put them to bed. Put them to bed. Because if I am wrong, be clear. I want to be wrong. If I'm wrong, I want to be wrong. I love to be wrong. I want you to tell me why I'm wrong in the chat. Keep on. I want to hear your thoughts. This is an interactive show. You all drive the conversation just as much as me. Oh, yes, you do. And we got a whole bunch of more stuff to talk about, absolutely. But specifically with this conversation, all these stuff surrounding his comeback has been built off of names that he's not going to fight. It's not Shakur. It's not Ryan. It's not even, again, O'Shaquie Foster. It won't be, almost assuredly, Lamont Welch. It won't be, especially now, Isaac Cruz, because everybody, those fights are at 140. At 135, I doubt he will ever fight Abdullah Mason unless Calvin Ford truly sees that Abdullah Mason is an easy fight. Though he's a champion, though he's one of the better up-and-coming future stars in this sport that has the making, especially once he gets his stuff together and once he gets a little bit of his slickness refined, he's going to be a monster. Can built to be translated to other divisions. got power, is exciting, got a great chin. As we saw when he fought against Sam Noakes, Butler was taking hits left, right, and center and still was kicking and going downstairs to the body. I mean, digging in the dirt when it came to punching Sam Noakes. It was insane. It was a proving point. It was a testing ground that he passed with flying colors from the perspective of the internals, the integrity. More importantly, the intangibles surrounding Abdullah Mason. He showed him he's got it. Heart, chin, power, adaptability, a grit that won't quit. He's got it. And as he gets better, he's going to flourish and shine even more. But regardless of which, the bigger conversation, that is a great opportunity for Tank to fight, but he won't fight him because that is too good. The best thing I could say potentially would be a fight with Floyd Schofield at 135. I'll be completely honest. That is the biggest profile. And if you want to talk about an easy fight, easiest fight I could see. And that could be a fight that, hey, we'll make it. And we know Schofield might have something go down like he's had for the past 3 big-time affairs in his career, and he might pull out regardless. But if we want to go on caliber of talent that matches the star power that would be enough for Tank to care about you, to make something go down, Floyd Schofield might be the only brother. Floyd Schofield might be the only man that we could see him fight against. You want to say Keyshawn Davis? No, Keyshawn's at 140. He's looking for Devin Haney at 147. He would love to fight He would love to fight Tank at 140. I dare say he might even try to make a catch weight of 138 if he got the opportunity to fight Tank. But guess what? Tank won't even pursue that opportunity. He's too good. Floyd Schofield is the only brother that I can see Tank even remotely entertaining as of the high-quality caliber names. This is who I'm fighting against. Because that marks the threshold perfectly for what is the most intriguing competition with the highest odds of getting people to care beyond just, I'm Tank Davis in the ring. Just enough credibility of who Floyd Schofield is as a fighter to have people look at that fight and say, okay, hey, this might be good. And he's bad enough that Tank knows, yeah, he's got no shot against me. There's no way, and Calvin Ford knows this too, there's no way I don't lose. Or, excuse me, there's no way that I don't win. That's the only name, Floyd Schofield. I don't care how fast he may come out fighting, he ain't beating Tank. I don't care how powerful he may look, he's not beating Tank. I don't care how much muscle he may have, he's not beating Tank, and we know this. But there's just enough believability that will get people saying, okay, hey, that's a good fight. That's a understandable fight. But even off the back of what we saw against him and Tevin Farmer, which made the fight with him versus Shakur very intriguing. Everybody got excited for it with Tank. Guaranteed, that's what's going to happen. It's right on that threshold. It's right on that threshold. And because of that, that might be the only fight that I can see him feasibly making his return for a first fight back at 135, at the division he most likely does not want to leave. If he does leave, if he does move up, if he does make it work to go and challenge himself in regards that we didn't expect was even possible for Tank Davis, I will be a happy man. I'll be a happy man. You better believe I'll be the first to sing his praises. I will be one of the first people standing up and applauding at the move that Tank makes, if that is the move that Tank makes. But again, I don't believe him. Because why believe you never give me nothing to believe in? To quote Kendrick Lamar, why believe you? Why give interest in the idea of competition when we know that's not what Tank is? And because of that, sadly, this is why we're having these conversations. But again, we'll see how it goes when he comes back. But this is my thoughts. Again, to summarize the whole thing, When it comes to Tank coming back, do not buy in at all to the landscape that Tank will fight somebody that you want. Because stop those dreams today. That I can guarantee you right now. As much as they may seem great, as much as it may sound incredible, as much as it may feel phenomenal to have that as a real notion, most likely, unless the bag gets thrown in an absurd way, it ain't gonna happen. Most likely, it ain't gonna happen, which is a shame. But either way, we still got more to talk about and more to touch on in the world of boxing. We don't want to run too much on Tank Davis. We got some more stuff as we have with Conor Benn. If you didn't know, another fighter that was in position to also potentially fight the likes of Tank Davis and others at 140 is now going to be confirmed to fight Regis Prograis as the co-main event for Tyson Fury versus Makhmudov in Tyson Fury's return to boxing in the heavyweight world. Yes, it's real. Now, why is this a big deal? Understand, this is a fighter, Conor Benn, who's one of the biggest names to sign with Zuffa Boxing, the newest initiative by Dana White, getting into the world of boxing as a legit promoter, now taking one of the bigger stars in the UK globally and putting him under this table. But it was for a one-fight deal, 8 figures. Mind you, insane money. Insane money. But the fact that it was insane money, this is who he's fighting? Was it 1 10s, 100s, thousands, 100,000, million, 10 million? Is that 8 figures? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mind you, this is ridiculous. From this perspective, this is one fight. This fight under Zuffa is in fact the only fight that Conor Benn has on his contract with Zuffa. And this against Regis Prograis. No disrespect to Regis Prograis. No disrespect to Regis Prograis. My gosh. This is insane. $15 million for this is a level of, I'll tell you this, Floyd would be proud. I'll tell you this, Floyd Mayweather would be incredibly proud. He'd be incredibly proud. He would be incredibly proud. Because that is highway robbery. That is highway. This is no way. And see, this is one of the concerns I've had with Dana White and Zuffa Boxing. With this being the fight, that is the fight, the premier fight for Zuffa to show that they are big players in the game and they can get big people. But it is essentially a 15 million. This is for, again, to put this in NBA perspectives, upwards of $15 million for a 1-year veteran minimum in the NBA would only be even feasibly seen as viable and doable for one man in the league, and that's LeBron. Put that into perspective. The veteran minimums in the NBA is like $9 million for 1 year. Something around that range. $15 million, that's at least a 2 or 3 year contract. The only person that could get away with that in the NBA for a 1 year deal with 2 year type of money is LeBron. That's insane. Conor Benn isn't even one of the, he's a huge star. He's a big time name. He ain't that. And this is, and mind you, when we were talking about earlier, Dana White paying attention to the boxing world in a way that the UFC fighters feel ostracized, there's been multiple fighters now, beyond just Sean O'Malley, beyond just Buckley, that's going through and saying, hey, we don't feel the love that you're giving everybody else. We don't feel it. We don't feel that same level of notoriety. We don't feel that same level of vaunted care. Because we're, again, fighting 3 or 4 times a year, making less than $1 million, even at the upper echelon. I'm a champion, and I'm barely making $750,000. Yet Conor Benn ain't even a world title. Or he is not even a world title holder. He's not even fighting a champion in his fight under you, and you're giving him what would be, and honestly, if you cut up his pay for the UFC, you could pay every champion in the UFC over $1 million and have money to then pay the 1, 2, and 3 contenders in at least 5 divisions over $1 million. Every single one of your biggest stars would make more than they've made in their entire career if you gave his contract and cut it up and put it in the UFC. That's preposterous from a UFC's perspective. And it's for this type of fighter. It's for Regis Prograis. The last thing we heard about him was having a fight against Devin Haney, which he got knocked down in twice, lost completely, and then subsequently afterwards had a lackluster performance. I don't even know if he won his last fight that he was in terms of Regis Prograis. Let me look it up real quick so I can validate it. Because I want to make sure I give you all the proper the proper conversation. But I believe his last fight at minimum was very lackluster. Incredibly lackluster. Whatever. He lost to Jack Catterall. He lost to Devin Haney. He beat Joseph Diaz. Understandable. He beat Joseph Diaz. Hey, 34-7-1 in Joseph Diaz's career. Very old fighter. Yes, he beat him. 98-92, 96-94 on 2 scorecards. But again, if you listen to the performances, or rather the reaction to said performance after that fight, many people were feeling the same way I felt. Hey man, that ain't pretty. That ain't kosher. That ain't quality. That is not anything to write home about in this regard. Not at all. Not at all. My gosh. Lord knows that was terrible. And that's what you're fighting against. Again, 15. That's your only fight with Zuffa for 15 minutes. I dare say we could see Conor Benn fight with Zuffa and then go through after this fight, leave Zuffa, sign back with Matchroom and say, hey, look at the value I got just for one deal, 1 year, one fight with Zuffa Boxing. Now, pay me even more. Whatever you were giving Eubanks, give me double. Pay me as if I'm a champion, because I got people that are fiending for me. Fiending for me. You know what this type of money would be? This type of deal would make sense if it was Virgil Ortiz, who, if we are listening to the rumors amongst this suing debacle with him trying to get out of his contract with Golden Boy Promotions and Oscar De La Hoya, if there were 3 deals, there were 2 other deals that were in place when it came to making the fight with Boots. One of them was Matchroom, $22 million. The other one was an unnamed source that was offering $16 million plus incentives and pay-per-view buys revenue, all guaranteed, if he went and fought with that other secret promotion, which sounds like is Zuffa Boxing. If this was Virgil Ortiz for the fight with Boots, okay, that makes a little more sense. But my gosh, this ain't it. Part of the reason, it's a little bit sketchy. It's part of the reason why I'm a little bit concerned with Dana White and the Zuffa thing, because I don't know, with the business acumen that we know he's had, it's also been very questionable, especially in the last couple of years, when sampling how he's been running the UFC. Now taking that into boxing, though the idea may be make the sport what it's supposed to be. Fine. The execution, though, a little bit concerned. And this is a big blow. Because other fighters are going to look at this and say, hey, if you gave Conor Benn that much, I'm well better than Conor Benn. I deserve 20. I deserve 30 for 2 fights. I deserve $25 million for 1 fight. That's just that's what we can start seeing. To me, I think this is an egregious overpay for this type of opponent and fighter, even though it's on an undercard with, again, Tyson Fury. Makes sense. The stage is huge. But I think it's concerning. For me, it's just a little bit concerning. But let me see. Jimmy Canada, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. With us on today, we're talking about the world of boxing and the sports landscape as a whole. We appreciate you tuning in on the show. Oh, excuse me. Lord, I got tongue-tied. Give me a second. Hold on. Ooh. Oh, okay. We're back. We're good. We're A-okay. I'm telling you, I'm gonna drink some tea after this to make sure I'm all good. But man, I almost lost myself for there for a second. But even still, we appreciate you tuning in on the show. We got more stuff to talk about in the world of boxing. One other thing we wanted to discuss was some words involving Bill Haney. Now, this isn't about necessarily Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia as a fight, which again we can still discuss. We can still discuss as time goes on this show, which I would love to hear your chats and conversation. But we need to talk about what he has said about the legacy of Devin Haney. More importantly, the legacy of the proverbial manufactured nature when it comes to one of the other best pound fighters in the world, arguably number one in many people's eyes, myself included, in Noya Inoue. But I will let Bill Haney say it for himself as to essentially downplaying the career and the idea of Inoue being as great as everybody says that he is. And whether we agree or not, we're going to talk about it right here on this show. But let me play the clip first for you all to witness and enjoy. And also, viewer discretion advised. If there's any language, I do apologize. We're trying to run a clean show, trying to get some sponsors, trying to be family friendly, wink, wink, and all that stuff. Hey, sponsors, hit me up. Yeah, we got standards. Jokes. But let me play the clip so y'all can hear it and y'all can see what Bill Haney had to say about Inoue and his legacy and why he's not as great as people say that he is. Yep.
Did.
No, I believe that Devin is number one.
He can't be number one. Inoue
Well,
is a
not on-
two-time. Inoue is
listen.
a two-time undisputed,
bro,
currently
get Inoue
active
out of there, bro.
fighting
Okay,
champion.
hold on, King. Listen, by the time you do it and you do it without the machine's help, when you do it and the glory divisions, right? When you do it for the legacy that we've done, right? The guys with that you're talking about Inoue has been carefully matched. He's not out here. He's not out here in the streets like us. He hasn't crossed platforms. He hasn't, you know what I mean, networks. He hasn't did any of that thing. He's been old fashioned, home cooking. He has home court advantage every time that he's fought. Has Inoue ever fought where he was the underdog, where they thought that he was going to lose?
No.
No, it's just a question. I'm just asking.
No. But that's because
Okay.
he's a
So,
fucking knockout puncher.
okay, but most
With
men,
skill.
what weight? Okay, hold on. What weight does he knock him out in?
In the last 4 weight classes he's
No.
been in.
Okay. And what?
He beat
So the
Stephen
audience will.
Fulton,
Okay.
bro.
Okay. So the audience will understand what weight is
he
that.
wasn't an underdog to Stephen with all his qualifications.
Uh-huh. So
Being the bigger
okay. So
man.
and I say, well, what?
Mind you, this is one of the clips. Our conversation goes a whole lot longer, but it's a ridiculous sentiment. It's insane. But I talk about it because I want to address it because this has been in lieu of the fight with Nakatani coming up. Pound for pound discussions going rampant around the world with Shakur winning, Devin Haney winning, and all this stuff. Who's top 3? Who's number 1? All this. Something about it always somehow leads to, Inoue gets disrespected. Somehow, some way. I want to ask you, the public, why that is the case. Before I delve into what I got to say. There's been a lot of stuff with Bill Haney that year. He just talks. He's just trying to get his son, the notoriety, the pomp and circumstance that he feels that he deserves. I get that. I'm not trying to diminish that. I understand that he's doing the job of a promoter in some degree. But at the same time, though, you are the very legacy you're trying to reach. You're somebody who got there. You're not You're not there. That's the standard. And it's ridiculous. Let me see what you all got to say first. Before I continue, let me see what you all got to say first and foremost before we continue to go to. Let me see. T-Dub, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in on the show with us for today. Hopefully, you're leaving a like on the video. Hopefully, you're commenting, you're chatting. We want to hear from you in regards to everything involving the world of boxing right now. In fact, let me actually change. I thought we had changed the title card. We had not. Let me change it real quick to the conversation at hand, which is, in a way, I'm gonna just call it straight up, disrespect and just outright get havoc. We need to discuss it because involving the rest of the world of boxing, we have to be completely honest, in a way is on the precipice to potentially lap the field. With all the other storylines abounding in the boxing world, we're forgetting that we may have a fighter who within the next year or two is about to transcend not just his divisions as a whole, not just be considered one of the greatest in his own division, but potentially within the next year or two could be seen as one of the greatest of all time by the time it's all said and done. Especially if he moves up to 126 and does what he said he's going to do. Ridiculous. But again, we're going to get to that conversation. Here we go. Now I finally got the thing up. But let me see what you all got to say first and foremost. Let me see. Tank's number one is your response. T-Dub. Hey, look, we can get back to that conversation, absolutely. Anyway, nice, but not better than Tank, in my opinion. Plus, hard to compare because of weight classes. Devin's been a weight bully. True, only dollar bill disanoid. Anyway, most respect, in a way, has accomplished. And here's the thing. Why do you feel that Tank is better than Inoue or who's better in a way? You can have your opinions as to who in fact is the better fighter. I strongly feel it's Tank. I strongly feel. I'm sorry. Scratch that. I strongly feel it's Inoue. I've said that Inoue is the best fighter in the world. I've said that for almost 3 years up until this point. He's been number one and number two in nearly every regard. He just got to number three. He slipped to number three only because Terrence Crawford beat Canelo, and even after that, I switched it back to number two, and now he's back at number one. At least for me, now that Terrence Crawford is retired, and with Usyk beating with Usyk beating Dubois, insane and incredible. But with the fact that he was going to fight Deontay Wilder, and now with the not taking into account disrespecting, okay, he's taking an easier fight, which he deserves it, but anyway, he's been more consistent with the lethality of competition that he's been up against and been active, the most active fighter in the world right now. 4 fights in a year, defended the title 4 times, I believe tying and or breaking the lineal defenses in a year by, I believe, Larry Holmes with 4 or more. It's ridiculous. I can't overlook that. That's why I have him where I put him. But let me keep on reading. Has he fought in America yet? He fought in America, I believe, 3 times. 2 times was during the COVID era, and the last time was against Ramon Cardenas, who he knocked out in what was one of the most viral and best fights of the year last year in December. Or November, December, I believe. But yeah, he's fought over in America 3 times. The only time he was actually having a crowd, again, due to COVID, was last year when he came out to Las Vegas, fought, knocked out Cardenas, got up from a knockdown, and had everybody buzzing about his ability, power, chin, heart, talent, and all that stuff. And Cardenas became a star also in his own right because of the fact that he fought against Inoue, and he put on a great performance. Everybody walked away happy from that fight. But again, before I give my own thoughts, let me read what you all got to say first and foremost. Definitely one of the greatest of this time is Inoue. And see, we absolutely agree on that, no question about it. But also, Vaughn Greenhill, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. So happy that you're here. Let me see what you got to say. Can you see Tank facing William Zepeda if he doesn't fight Kid Austin when he returns? Ooh. Okay, hold on. Okay, this is dang it. Greenhill, I wish you were here just a second before. We had just gotten off of the Tank conversation. It was getting ready to talk about Inoue. Okay, hold on. This chat's too good to pass up. Let me read this. This is actually really good. This is actually a really good chat. Let me go and address this first. We'll get back to anyway. Just 30 seconds. You give me 30 seconds. That's a really good chat. Tank could fight Williams Zepeda. I could see him fighting Williams Zepeda. Now, granted, I didn't think about Williams Zepeda as a fighter at 135 that I could see Tank fight. But it is possible. Volume puncher like that is there to get hit. I would see, especially without Pop. Yeah, that is one of the other two names that I could see him fight if it isn't Floyd Schofield. Now, beyond Schofield and Zepeda, which you brought up, which I didn't even think about. Thank you. I don't see anybody else as the most viable for how Tank normally goes about his current tenure of fight with ease over legacy. But if there were names, those would be the two. Floyd Schofield, William Zepeda. Maybe William Zepeda above Floyd Schofield because of the fact that he just had a fight with Shakur Stevenson and he doesn't have any power that Tank feels he would have to be concerned about. He can deal with volume just fine. Power is one of the things he's like, might be a little bit sketchy. But even still, that would lead into him wanting to fight William Zepeda even more. So he might be a favorite to say, hey, yeah, I'll make a fight with William Zepeda. Now, it's not what we want to see, but again, has a name value, has a level of respect, has been in the ring with other big-time names, would fit the bill of a fight that would look like, oh, this can be competitive, but it won't be. Because, again, we know Tank's going to win. That's almost sure. It's not the challenge that we want, but it's the challenge that we can see. But that's how I feel. But again, thank you for the chat. That's actually a very good thing. I didn't even think about William Zepeda. That's really, really good. That's really good. I'm not gonna lie. That's actually really good. But even still, let me. When I try to jump back and forth, we are on Inoue. We are talking about Inoue. Let me try to get all the chats about Tank out the way. And let's touch on the Inoue conversation with Bill Haney real quick. Trying to see. Tank won't fight those guys. Don't make sense. I think it does, but again, we'll have to wait and see. Honestly, if you want to listen to what I said, listen to the first I think like the first hour. No, the first was it in the 30-minute mark or 45-minute mark? I think I talked about Tank, but I gave more thoughts on that. Absolutely. We could see him fighting, but it's not a worthy opponent. Austin too young, also an easy in my eyes. Both opponents, both are easy. That's why I'm saying he'll fight him. For me. Both are easy. And per what Captain Ford was saying, it's going to be an easy fight. That's the only other things I can see fit the bill for a level of care, level of notoriety, but not something that is oh so dominant that, yeah, it's going to be a 50-50 fight. So I can see it going through. But even still, we got to talk about anyway. But we got more people. We just got people coming. We love it. But let me see. Moon Man, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. We're so happy that you're here with us on today. Let me see what you got to say. Ryan has grown too big to go back down. That'd be a mistake. Is the money. That'd be a mistake. He is the money man. Calls his shots. All the smoke at 147. And I'm with you. I don't think moving back down to 147 is the best thing. But again, we talked about it in the first hour of the show. Or the first 30 minutes of the show. We can talk about it. We got the don't forget, we have the championship round. So if you stick around just a little bit longer, we have the championship rounds where we discuss anything that you all want to talk about in the world of boxing. After we get our general, normal, detailed operations underway, and we cover the main topics that we have for the show, then y'all got an hour to discuss whatever you want to have. Just give me a little bit of time. Let me touch on anyway, and then we're going to get back into the Ryan Garcia talk, get back into the Tank talks, and do all of that stuff, because it's going to be a lot of conversation. I know it. I do know it. But back to anyway, as we see with T-Dub, Bill just hating and marketing his son. Yes, no, and he is. And we're switching gears. We're switching gears. Anyway, we're staying with anyway. We're coming back to Ryan Garcia, but we're staying with anyway. Bill Haney is indeed working his son to get him to be able to to be a star. No problem. No issue. No issue at all. The issue is Bill Haney is saying what others around the boxing world also feel. Maybe not the fighters, but the non-fighters, promoters in some regards. Though a lot of them are behind him, there's some that say, he ain't all that. As well as a lot of fans. There's a lot of fans that feel that Naoya Inoue, as exciting as he may be, isn't worth the hype and appeal that he is. You can bring up all the resume. You can bring up how he beat Nonito Donaire twice. How he had a fight of the year and then knocked him out in 2 rounds afterwards. You can bring up Stephen Fulton. You can bring up everything about his performances against quality talent, how he's cleaned out 1 through 5. You can, in multiple divisions, how he was the second male 2-time undisputed champion in the 4-belt era since Terrence Crawford when he did it first, but he did it in less time. He did it in a year. He became undisputed in a year. He became undisputed in 1 year, still fighting more actively than every other fighter in the world. Insanity. This is the man who has been able to have the defense of some of the best in the world and some of the best offense that we've seen in the world in combination without sacrificing one or the other. He has beaten the #1 ranked guy per the Ring Magazine and per every other stinking ranking body in every division and worked his way not from the bottom up, from the top down, and every fight has been by unanimous decision. We talk about the Terrence Crawford and how every fight with him has been by straight up unanimous decision or knockout. But in a way, he's about in that same boat. He's about in that same boat. Was he 31-0, 32-0, 28 knockouts on his resume? Has been able to systematically pick apart nearly everyone in his weight, regardless of height, skill, and or weight class. We can touch on that all we want. The disrespect still comes because of the stigma that he hasn't done it here in America. The home cooking. He's been doing it over in Japan. You got to understand. You got to understand. Inoue is not a product of his environment in the way that we have with other people. People don't want to go over to the UK, in part because they feel the judging will be skewed. People want to come over here to the States, but they also feel that if they're an overseas fighter, they're not going to get the same just due. Anybody who fights across the country, guess what? They're going to have that same thing. They're going to have that same thing. But at every single point in time, it's not the environment that dictates the fighter. At least when it comes to Inoue. Inoue has changed the environment around boxing wherever he goes. And if people can't get out of the mindset that America is the end-all be-all, that yes, somebody can be just that great, that good, that dominant, that destructive, that much of a near-perfect specimen of a fighter with boxing ability, countering ability, defense sublime, knockout power that is, knockout power that is pound for pound, top 3 in the world. With a absolute insane IQ in mind that even the likes of Tank Davis has said, hey man, that brother knows what he's doing. And like we said before, Tank don't respect nobody. He doesn't respect anybody. And amongst those that actually watch the sport that are fighters, they have nothing to say about Inoue because you can't say anything about Inoue. He's fought every single type of style, both as opposition and in his own game plan. And he's been a master at it in every regard. He is arguably the most versatile fighter that we have in the sport, as well as top 3 most destructive with a IQ and a legitimate boxing genius that rivals anybody. It can rival Shakur. It can rival Terrence Crawford. That's not glaze. We watched him. This is going up against everybody. Stephen Fulton is just one name. And Stephen Fulton was fringe pound for pound top 10 at the time that Inoue fought him. Let alone Ahmad Ali, who was seen as the boogeyman at 122 that nobody wanted to deal with. He made him look silly for 12 rounds, boxing around the ring like he was doggone Muhammad Ali. Hands down, skinning the cat by leaning back, doing whatever he wanted to do. Just take it. He got caught in the last round, absolutely. He said himself, I got too comfortable. But before that, he didn't get touched. Held it almost sub 15% connect percentage. Stuff we've seen Shakur do. I don't get why the rhetoric is this man ain't worth the hype. He's done stuff that other fighters only dream of. Only dream of. We got fighters that up in bigger weight classes, like Nick Ball, who hadn't accomplished anything except for being, yes, he was a champion, but wasn't fighting anybody else in this division that was of note. His entire reign, at least one or two of his fights, was beating people that in a way had already beaten at 122. Oh, Shocky's best performance that we all love him for against the likes of Stephen Fulton was not better than the performance that we saw Inoue do against Stephen Fulton in a prime Stephen Fulton. Nick Ball's performance against TJ Doheny was not better than a 122 Doheny when he fought against Inoue and he got knocked out in the back after getting punched in the gut by Inoue while also getting beat for every round. Insane. I've never seen somebody take a body shot and they say my back gave out. I've never seen that before. The only other caliber of power I've seen of that coin was when I saw the likes of George Foreman punch somebody in the back with an overhand and they went down as if they had gotten caught in the head. Frightening, nightmare level power. That's what we're seeing with Inoue. I'm not trying to glaze. I'm trying to give you perspective. You can't. He's shown everything that you need to see. We got to be able to nix fandom and nix a level of, what's the part with nix the notion that if you ain't here in the States, you ain't nothing. Because you're blinded by everybody. The same thing happened to Anthony Joshua, but Anthony Joshua got a load more respect. Tyson Fury, the same thing was happening to Tyson Fury. Yep, he got a loads more respect and it wasn't nearly as loud. Now he's about to fight another pound-for-pound fighter, literally his main rival in Nakatani, and people are still trying to say he ain't all that. If he beats Nakatani and knocks him out, what are we going to say? Are we going to say he's still a bum, or are we going to say that he's something serious? You got to. You have to. Because even compared to Tank, compared to Devin, compared to Teo, compared to Shakur, shoot, even compared to Canelo, this brother has been doing work that is like there's maybe one or two names from a productive standpoint that are above him. One of which retired in Crawford. The only other one is Canelo. Benavidez is making his legacy. Fury is making his legacy. Usyk, yes, is undisputed. 2 weight classes. That's the only other one, excuse me. Canelo and Usyk, that's it. That's it. Ben Rodriguez is making a very quick run, but that's it. As comparison-wise, that's it. Ain't nobody else done what he's been doing. If Devin Haney had that same type of legacy, guess what we'll be saying about Devin Haney? He's the best fighter in the world. If Devin Haney had that same type of I'm not gonna say ability, though I think Inoue's far better. But if Devin Haney had that same type of career, we would be calling Devin Haney not top 8, not top 6. We'd be calling him the best in the world. As of anybody else who would be having that type of career with this consistent level of dominance. Yet with Inoue, it just never fails. It's always the same conversation. The brother ain't great because he's done it overseas and he's got an unfair advantage. But a 28 of his opponents got hit the canvas and didn't get up. That's not unfair. That's just, I'm better than you. You can't get skewed or you can't get robbed when you couldn't get up. You can't get cheated when you got knocked out and there was no foul play involved. You can't get cheated and you got countered 8 times in 10 seconds and you got put to sleep. That's just you. You got beat by a better man. It shouldn't be that difficult. Y'all should be, when I say y'all should be making your fighters follow the career of Inoue. Instead of saying he ain't all that, you try to do what he did. and show people this is what it really means to be great. If you think that his career ain't all that, do what he did. That's the easiest thing. But if you can't do that, don't be talking about him like he's somebody that's just ridiculous. No matter what you feel his skills may be, which I think his skills are the best in the world. But regardless of what you think his skills are, the production is the one thing you can't deny. And people are still denying it. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it for the life of me. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating, man. But I don't want to get on my horse. I want to see what you all got to say even still on today. We got people saying, I can't stand Bill. But again, his sentiments have been stuff that's been held by other people. That's the biggest problem. We're trying to shut that narrative down because Inouye is one of the greatest I've ever seen. Maybe not you, but for me, one of the greatest I've ever seen. And I know a different type of animal when I see it. And that is a different type of animal. And we don't want to disrespect that because we're going to miss out on a career and a greatness and a legacy that you're going to say, man, I wish I could enjoy it while it was around. I don't want you, the public, to have that feeling. That's all I'm saying. I just don't want you to have that feeling. Let me see. Inouye is nasty. He fights. He don't go out. Maybe he'll fall asleep like other fighters. That's the thing. Mind you, he's doing all of this while being aggressive. He's not just, he's boxing with some of the same principles, a lot of the same principles that we see with Shakur, but he's trying to end the show, and he does it most times out of 10. If not, puts on an offensive masterclass that keeps the people oohing and on and engaging. He just wants to be exciting. This is incredibly difficult. To be exciting and disciplined at the same time in this regard. He's insane. He's ridiculous. Also, let me see. Let me see. Is it Mr. I want to see. Who's this? Oh, Mr. TYT, what's going on with it? How you doing? I'm sorry, I had to read it for a second. Mr. TWT, what's up with it? Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you on the show. So happy that you're here on today. We appreciate your support. Hopefully you're leaving a like on the stream. Hopefully you're sharing the show. Hopefully. Oh, this is the same brother? Oh, Day. Oh, my bad. My bad. Oh, you showing double support. I appreciate it. Look, any views, no matter how much, I don't care if it's repeat. It works out for me. So I'm glad you're here. I'll say happy again. Truth, what's going on with you? How you doing? Appreciate you on the show, Truth. Thank you for coming back. Hopefully you leave a like on the stream. We want to hear your thoughts and opinions on everything. Let me see what you all got to say. Honestly, bro skills are top, but I judge that against people I'd never heard of. He displayed power for sure against Fulton. Reminds me of Lomachenko. And so, and this is actually a quality point. It's a quality point. And I'm using you. I'm not holding it against you. But this is a great tidbit for a part of the other side of the equation as for why Inouye gets talked about the way he's talked about. And Bill Haney was getting ready to allude to that before the clip of his conversation cut off with the boxing voice and I believe Two-Tone the Superstar. People don't know who Inouye fought because people don't pay attention below 130. More importantly, below 135. Below 135, people's conversations of who boxers are, they start to wane. You can have a whole lot of Hall of Famers. You can have a whole lot of champions. I have been a very big advocate that once you get below 130, that's where you get the real big wars on a constant basis. We watch the cards over in Japan whenever Inouye or Nakatani fights, and we have been up at 4 a.m. up until 9 o'clock in the morning, and we have not slept. Why? Because every single time they go to war in a way across you go from 110 to 122 to 126. They never disappoint with action. Never. This is not just talking about the culture of people. Because again, boxing over Japan, it's big on you leave everything out there. It's big on you leave it all in the ring. It's huge over there. We talk about the Mexican spirit that we see when it comes to Mexican warriors fighting in the boxing, Viva Mexico, and that mentality, that aura, that displayed dominance of always pressing forward. But they over there, But if they're going down with everything they got. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. If defense ain't working, guess what? We're going to bite the bullet and we're going to do what we got to do. I don't care if I do go down, y'all going to respect me. And it be every single time. But most of the time, it is the lower weight class. And yes, it's people that you haven't heard of. It's a lot of people from across the countries, and not just country, but countries that come over and fight, whether it's over in Japan or otherwise. But they never fail to bring about not just excitement, but an elevated level of boxing skill that is so refined. They have speed, they have technique, they have, crazy enough, they got chins, and they got heart. But most of the people don't know about anything at 122, 118, 115. Nakatani, for many people, just came on the scene for their mind's eye. In a way, was the biggest star of that smaller division sect. But it's because he was doing stuff against people that were indeed so great. He was blowing them out the water. In a way that was like, oh my gosh, we can't help but pay attention. But Marlon Tapales, heavy hitter. Diego Higa, heavy hitter. Louis Neary got banned from Japan because of how heavy of a hitter he was. I think because of some other stuff as well, but he was a villain to the country because he was knocking out their favorite fighters and gloating about it in the process. Ramon Cardenas had fought at 130 before coming down to 122 and kept carrying that power. And he's turned into one of the biggest knockout artists in this division with some of the best hooks we've got across multiple divisions. You could compare his hooks to the level of damage that we see with Isaac Cruz. I'm dead serious. Did you see his knockout against Robles just a couple of months ago? Brother, horrific. In a way, got up from that. That type of hook. He got up from that. And avoided it by centimeters the rest of the fight. We're not, the divisions are so laden with talent, but because they're small, they are unknown. And many people don't want to care. I get it. There's a lot of things to keep up with in boxing. This sport's incredibly confusing. People care about the biggest names, the biggest fights. But understand, we can translate that to other divisions as well. Don't forget, until we saw stinking Ryan Garcia fight against Tank, there were a lot of people that said he's a big star. I don't know who he beat though. But he's a big star with a lot of highlights. I want to see that fight. Didn't even question the names. And he had barely beat, the biggest name he had beaten up until that point was Campbell for the interim title. But like it was, most people couldn't name those names, but they didn't hold that against him, did they? There's a lot of people that Anthony Joshua beat that people just accepted. Yeah, that's the best heavyweight in the world. But before Andy Ruiz, for the American audience specifically, they didn't really know or care about Charles Martin, Povetkin. A lot of these names were Dillian White. Good names, especially when they were in their prime at that point in time, but it wasn't, they weren't known or with the notoriety of, oh my gosh, global appeal. But he was doing great work, but it wasn't held against him. I don't want to throw the double standard around, but it's somewhat of a little bit of a double standard. It's like, It's unfair, in my opinion. That's the best thing. That's the easiest thing to say, excuse me. It's unfair, in my opinion. Because of the fact that people just don't want to do their homework. Which again, it's a lot of boxers. I understand. But if you just take time to look and do a little bit as to the background of who these people fought, how they fight, what makes them such an impressive win on his resume, you'll see, okay, oh my gosh, wait a minute. All right now. I didn't know he got down like that. And this guy beat him 10 rounds, 12 rounds, and knocked him out. Got to give him respect. I really do. But let me see what you all got to say so I can make sure. Let me see. Yeah, those hours are horrible and full of exciting fighters in those market. A couple of fights last year were overseas. Fury, I think, was one. Yeah, no, they were. And I only know the classes of fighters I follow, and a lot of times I wouldn't know the other boxers. LOL, sad. Some boxers don't get the same promo, so I gotta go do my own homework and find out. A lot of times, you're right. Mind you, I am not blaming you, nor anybody else, because that is a fact. But the issue is, in part, because of that fact, don't go out and say that somebody isn't worth the time. Because yes, you follow fighters that you like. You should. That's how the sport and part is built on. But at the same time, blame the promotions that are not giving the other fighters their just due. Again, this is a sport of stars, similar to NBA. It's a star-driven sport. People stopped watching when Ali left. People stopped watching when Mike Tyson left. Shoot, people stopped watching when Sugar Ray Robinson retired. And that's when he just started losing consistently. But was he 146-10? He went 40-0, lost, got his win back, and then went 80-0. He didn't start losing until he was in the when I forget Twilight. But the sun was coming up the next morning on Sugar Ray Robinson's career before he actually called it quits and said, I'm done. And that's when he finally started losing at a consistent rate. And people stopped watching the sport to some degree when he retired. And he's considered the greatest of all time. We see this consistently. It's a sport driven by stars. But when we're trying to say why, the biggest thing, when we try to educate, because a lot of people don't know, we try to educate on why a star is worthwhile. Don't go down the rabbit hole of completely saying, he's not worth my time. If anything, find a better reason than just he's fighting overseas. Because that's ignorant on Bill Haney's part. You know, I respect Bill Haney. That's ignorant on his part to say that. Knowing that he's gone overseas, and we can say, you fought Kambosos. Yeah, you beat him over there, but he wasn't that good in the first. Who cares about Kambosos? His only win was a fluke win against Stephen Lopez. He's lost every big fight since then. Why should that be seen as a crowning moment for you? When it was a fight that you should have won, that you should have beaten. We can go and nitpick at that as well, but we don't. Why? Because we understand you beat somebody in their hometown going over there. You know how hard it is to fight in enemy territory, and you did it twice. You did it twice. Not Saudi Arabia, where it's more so neutral. You went to Australia to take Kambosos' belt. You did it, and you beat him twice. And you were the one that was saying, we got to be careful because home cooking can be debilitating. You know what it's like. And you've also gotten the benefit of the doubt by you getting some decisions over here in the States. Like with the Lomachenko fight that a lot of people feel you didn't win. Again, not a robbery, an incredibly close fight. But people have been using the argument because if this was somewhere else, maybe you wouldn't have gotten that victory. I'm simply pointing out some of the hypocrisies behind somebody that's experienced the same thing when it comes to greatness championships and having to deal with some of the same issues that anyway had to deal with becoming a champion and sustaining as champion. That's the problem. And it gets disrespectful because now you're minimizing what his talent is, which we understand is elite, bar none, amongst anybody else in the world, relative to a select four. And you do that, you disrespect, you make one of your biggest stars that we want to have a bunch of cachet and shine with, you make him obsolete. Because all of a sudden, you say you want this sport to improve, yet you always got something negative to say about one of the biggest people that are improving the sport. I don't get it. And he's not even your direct competition. I don't understand. I don't understand. I really don't understand. Oh Lord, it's frustrating. Let me see. No, I followed Garcia before that. A lot of people only knew him after the loss. See, they only knew him after the loss. And he had 10 million followers now. Before the fight with Tank, he had upwards of 10 million followers. He wasn't one of the biggest stars, but in terms of like concrete knowing names, they just saw the knockouts for many of them and said that. But it must be good. So I figured it. I used to rank my list Tank, RG, T.O., Dev, Shakur. So I want to know now, who do you rank with this list now? Who do you have ranked at this point in time? And now this is actually a great segue that we can jump into the World of Championship rounds. As again, I said what I need to say about the Inouye thing, and now we can kind of delve into the whole of the boxing and sports landscape. Hey, it's the championship rounds. We got 30 minutes to an hour. We want to hear what you got to say on the day. Most likely 2 hours and 30 minutes is going to be the cutoff, absolutely. But between now and then, hey, as long as y'all keep chatting and commenting on whatever thoughts and opinions or debates or questions you may have in the world of boxing and beyond, whether that be movies, sports, television, video games, the NBA, the NFL, boxing as a whole with some mega fights that you want to have, debates involving other stars, or just questions that you want to get off your chest, that you want to hear my opinions on, I want to hear from you in everything involving it. And I want to be able to give you the best entertaining thing possible and let you drive the ship for the last half of this show like we always do at the end of our show. So let's get right into it, shall we? Come on. Let's get it popping. Let's get it going. Let's do what we do best. And let's get going with the championship rounds. Yes, sir. Let's see what you all got to say on the day. Let me see. Yes, Cam was a money grab for them. Yeah, you could argue that, absolutely. Now with the same boxers, you rank it Tank, Rolly, Ryan, Dev, Shakur. Now I do have to ask: is this within the divisions, like within 140, or excuse me, within 135, 140, and 147? This is where you rank this type of caliber. Or is this in all of boxing, this is where you rank X, Y, and Z? These are your top 5 fighters, or just in a specific sector? Because if no disrespect, but if you got Rolling in top 5 pound for pound, my gosh, that's a bold claim. Brother, you know something I don't. you know something I don't in that regard. But if this is within the sector fighters, that's why I said for clarification. I don't want people reading your chat and all of a sudden they got you going and saying, what is this brother talking about, having Rolly as the best ranked fighter? I was just trying to see. But if it's within that kind of that ebb and flow of specific divisions, having Rolly in there, especially as the champion, just these guys. These guys knowing they can. Okay, so amongst coming up together, that's how you have them ranked from the standpoint of boxers. Now, this is interesting. So you have Tank, Rolly Romero, Ryan Garcia, Devin, and Shakur. Why would Shakur, because of what he's just since coming up from 130, 135, and the whole set, would you say that Shakur should be ranked higher amongst all of these coming up together type fighters? Because, yeah, Rolly's in that conversation, yes, because of competition, and yes, he beat Ryan Garcia, so he deserves to be in that conversation as well with them, but with the proverbial 4 Kings era of that point in time, T.O., Devin, Tank, Ryan Garcia, with, again, Shakur, while he wasn't in the mix, he's put himself in that mix because while he's younger, he is indeed above or at that level of talent. Would it be fair to say that we should put Shakur kind of at the top of that? Not just because, in my opinion, he should be pound for pound number 4 in the world, but because what he's accomplished throughout his entire career. Again, the De Los Santos loss or De Los Santos win, that was a very bad looking win. Yeah, that's going to be held against him. However, throughout the rest of his time, when he put out and knocked out Jamal Herring, when he put out and knocked out Yoshino, when he destroyed Oscar Valdez, when he went through and dominated The rest of 135, like with Artem Haratunian, when he went through, and yet again outside of De Los Santos fight, now with the likes of Teofimo Lopez, who we always say that brother is at least bottom 10 in the top 10 pound for pound, and to beat him in a clean shutout sweep, not even close, and you hurt him a couple times, and you make him swell up, and you did it all with just your jab against one of the best offensive fighters that we have in boxing today. I'm like, well, shoot, man. I can't help but look at you in a way that you might be head and shoulders at this point in time above the rest of the pack. He's got the accomplishments, no question. With, again, being undisputed, going through and fighting as much as he has been, still being consistently winning and dominant, just winning a title at 147, conquering multi-weight class. But, it's hard for me to say. What I've seen from Shakur should not have him as at the tops of that sector division, or that sector of people as it currently stands right now. But it's very interesting to say the least. With it all, let me see. Nope, because he beat a form of T.O. I've never seen. Doesn't mean his resume is better than the others. Okay. T.O. fought the guys we all wanted to fight early. When they had a real fight left. So you're saying Teofimo Lopez fought people like Lomachenko, Josh Taylor, even Sandor Martin, and we can even use Jermaine Ortiz from the perspective of younger. He fought them when it was supposed to happen. He did. He took the test. There's even an argument that fight with Lomachenko, that was supposed to be a gimme fight for the likes of Tio, or for the likes of Lomachenko, because Tio was so young in that division. Only, 23 years old, just about. And so, I am not diminishing it. The question is, though, is that fair against the likes of Shakur? Because of the fact that he was maturing and moving up at the time all of them were there. And yes, and you're right, Ortiz was, again, I'm holding Ortiz as a very high regard. I'm not disrespecting Ortiz. I said that fight, Sandor Martin is really good. Ortiz is really good. I thought he lost to Sandor Martin, and Ortiz, though he won, gave him a tough time. The fact that Keyshawn Davis did what he did to Jermaine Ortiz in this most recent outing at 140 is incredibly impressive, because we understand how good Jermaine Ortiz really is. Oh, no question about that. You ain't gonna hear me disrespect that win. But we understand it exposed some things about T.O. that was like, he may struggle against X, Y, Z, but got it done. No issue there. What the issue does come, though, Shakur, at this point in time, has been following the same type of trajectory of fighting people when they're supposed to fight them, and not avoiding competition or waiting people out. When he fought Jamar Herring, he was incredibly young, fresh off the Olympics run, going through, got his resume up, and then boom, fought Jamar Herring while he was still had something left in the tank. And we thought, hey, you might not be able to knock him out. He put him to sleep. When we fought Oscar Valdez just got the last bits of the best version of himself beat out by Emmanuel Navarrete. Twice. Got knocked out twice by Emmanuel Navarrete. But before that, we were seeing this brother against Shakur. That was the best test that Shakur had faced off in his career up until that point from a perspective, talent, position. Depending on who you asked. At minimum, he was top 2. And he put him out. Easy work. That was incredibly impressive. And that wasn't an old, out of their prime Oscar Valdez from what I was watching. And subsequently afterwards, he fought when William Zepeda still looked like, hey, he could give. We remember the conversation about William Zepeda. Can your hands hold up to that level of offensive output? That wasn't changing. And it still didn't change. And he beat him at his own game. And we were all excited to see what Shakur can look like in that fight. We wanted to see that fight. That was a fight amongst the sect of people at 135. Hey, we would like to see that translate and come about. And we got it. And it was like, we didn't see ducking. Or I didn't see it as he was avoiding competition. He was legit going for it. And now with Tio, when Tio had retooled, regrouped, revitalized himself, gotten his seemingly gotten his social life together, gotten his outside life together, and in boxing, he had looked like the version of Tio that we had said was still a viable threat to beat most in the world with some of the best and unique offense and physical capabilities that we've had in the sport today. Not on par, but within the same vein of conversation that we talked about with Boots Ennis, as to both of them can just do different things that most others just can't do in the boxing world. That wasn't me comparing the skill set. That was me comparing the ability to do so much unique stuff and get away with things that other boxers just can't get away with. Take chances that others just can't do because he is that talented physically, or that capable physically, with the real IQ. Hold on. Are we good? Hello? Hold on. Hello? Wait, are we back? Hold on a minute. Hold on. Are we back? Are we okay? Wait a minute. Are we good? We froze for a minute. Okay. All right. Thank gosh. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, Lord. Oh. Oh, shoot. I got scared. I legit got scared. Well, you know what? While we're here, let me do a shameless look. Hey, while I know I'm live, let me do a shameless plug. Cash App, PayPal. If you want to make sure stuff doesn't go out some more, pay me some money and keep this show going. Come on. I gotta get it in now. Super chats and super gifts. If you want to keep this show going, I gotta get it in now, or else we go. I tried to make it so. I wasn't plugging the ways to help support the channel because we were having such a good time. But now look, I know I paid the bill recently. I thought I paid the bill recently, but if not, oh shoot. Awesome. See, we're using humor to cloud. We use humor to cloud the fear. That's what. Oh Lord, but we should be good now. We should be okay now. We should be all well and good now. Oh man, oh that's hilarious. That is funny. That was funny. What was I saying? Doggone it, I done forgot what was I talking about? Ah, I remember now. I don't think we did finishing off with Shakur. That's why I don't think we should hold that against Shakur, because I think he's been doing the route of taking on people at the best time, at least that he could. Because again, everybody else is older than him, or has had their career start before. Like they've been, even if it's by a little, they've been long on the game. But he's been taking on tests, and now he's at a position now where the very thing that you say, comp versus comp, or that others may say, we need to see him do that on a consistent basis. He's in that very running to do that very thing. And I think he's going to be able to do it with flying colors against most people. It's going to be very exciting. Let me see. Comp versus comp, Tio's comp were harder. Vastly great argument, no question. But because of that comp, which I said that in the middle to the fight, Tio's had a way better career because of the volatility of names in a good way that we've seen Tio have. Yeah, this is the most experienced and this is the best fighter Shakur has ever faced. But with that being understood now, him beating him so soundly puts him in a pedestal. Okay, he's going to have a career that can be as good, if not better than Tio, very quickly. Because he just handled somebody with that much experience who's been in the ring with people like Lomachenko, Ortiz, Sandor Martin. And we said that he was regrouping and turning into a better fighter. Enter the Teofimo Lopez, getting back to his real roots. And this brother was able to still come through and dominate him. Yeah, he doesn't have as big of a competitive resume But he just added a name to make it start. He just added a name in Tio that you can't say he ain't fought nobody now. If you say he hasn't gone up to the testing level that you needed, you can't say that now. Because it's only up from here. And my gosh, that was a high mountain that he just climbed, and he climbed it with the greatest of ease. He did. So sky's the limit for him. I can't wait to see it. But at least that's where, at least now there's some excitement to Shakur. And there is. There is. Now, I believe I think he's more exciting than people feel. But that's also in part because of his own pushing identity when it came to changing how he thinks when it comes to boxing. He was knocking people out. And then his hands kept breaking. Excuse me. And then he stopped knocking people out. And he changed to be even more conservative than before. I'm going and I'm guarding everything. You're dangerous in every regard. Even the fight with Artem Aratunian, it was entertaining, but it got frustrating because of the fact that I was saying, why are you not ending the show? And I know you can end the show. You are there to get a knockout. Go for it. And he wasn't. We have had many instances where, Shakur Stevenson, he is a brother who has bored people. But in part, it wasn't because he couldn't entertain. It's because he didn't want to entertain, because he was trying to stay true to his identity. We don't want to risk anything. Now, he's gotten out of that. He's able to sit down on his punches. He's more confident throwing real heavy leather like he used to back at 130 in the early days of 135. He is standing in the pocket. Mind you, he's not running from any of these people. He's been standing right in front of him, picking apart shots and countering you left, right, and center. Being able to walk you down like he did with Lomachenko. Shoot, like he, not Lomachenko, excuse me, like he did with Teofimo Lopez, like he was doing with Artem Aratunian before the fight with Tio. He was walking him down. He walked down William Zepeda and stood toe-to-toe with him. Straight up, nose to nose. He can do it. And he's bought into the idea, okay, also in part because he's taken more stuff from Terrence Crawford. Don't forget that. As he's grown, Terrence has also been a bigger mentor. And he's taken more of those identities that we've seen Terrence Crawford implement in his own style that made him not just the best in the world, but also one of the most exciting fighters in the entire world. That just by proxy of, in all honesty, being denied opportunities by people, he wasn't getting the shine he deserved up until Errol Spence and then ultimately Canelo. But before that, the brother had been doing work. He'd been fighting like this. He'd been doing great. In terms of Terrence Crawford, Shakur taking from that now, you see it. Not just in the physique, but in the confidence, in the trust in his fist, in the more apparent opportunities that he's taken to counter and take chances to hurt you. Get your respect, which I love. So he can be very exciting. No question about it. Let me see. Maybe Shakur is waiting for Tank, but I believe his power at 140 is way better. Oh, yes, it is. Absolutely. In fact, I think the power, or at least the respectableness of his power, has always been there. It was just the hand injuries that stopped it from happening, or stopped it from being consistent. Now that he's worked with Floyd Mayweather, his words, not mine, now that he's worked with Floyd, he got tricks of the trade to how to take care of his hands better. He's now able to throw lumber in a real way, in a consistent way. For 3 fights now, Padley, Zepeda, and now Tio, he's been landing, thudding shots and sitting down on his punches with confidence and accuracy. It's been there. He just wasn't able to use it. And now that he's able to use it, okay, we're getting a fuller picture of who Shakur really is, which I love. I absolutely love it. No question. But let me see. Cut Creator, what's going on with it? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. We want to hear what you got to say. involving the world of boxing. It's still the championship rounds. We want to talk about everything in regards to Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Tank Davis, whatever you want to discuss or beyond in the world of boxing, basketball, football, all that stuff. We got 30 minutes. We want to hear from you in regards to everything involving the world of sports and your conversation and thoughts. So put it in the chat, put it in the zeitgeist of a community, and let's hear what you got to say on today involving the world of sports as a whole. Let me see. Archer himself said he was running from Shakur. Oh, he was backing up? I could see it. Because that brother, he's got latent power. His fist just couldn't handle. And now he can handle. So it's great. I love to see it. Let me see. Shakur looks healthier at 140. Now that's not a Paul's statement. That's a factual statement. At 140 and beyond. Just like we're going to see it. Look, we're going to see it with Abdullah Mason. We're going to see it with most of the other big stars at 135. Once they get out of 135, they look a lot better. Ryan Garcia looked a whole lot better. Devin Haney looked a whole lot better. Once he got out of 135, once you're able to get up to your closer walk around weight, you look, feel, and fight up to your fullest potential. And we're seeing that with Shakur. You see the frame, you see the fullness of the muscles, you see the real physique that is, okay, it's more than just technique that he's got, that he can bring to the table. Don't forget, he was complaining about getting caught with shots to the body against the likes of Oscar Valdez at 135. Body shots ain't affecting him no more. The padding is more defined as well as robust. It's better. Boots Ennis at 147 versus at 154 now. Looks a whole lot better. Looks a whole lot healthier. Looks even more capable in a good way because he's filled out. He's close to what he's supposed to be. Keyshawn Davis, same thing. He's close to what he's supposed to be at 140. I would love to say at 147, he may look like an even bigger dog because he probably walks around at 160. Devin Haney walks around at 190. Just about. So it's like, this is the art of being able to fight close to where you're supposed to be. But let me see. How you feel about Pac and good gosh, oh Lord, oh my gosh, my goodness. How do I feel? How do I feel about Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather running it back in a fight that, in all honesty, I don't know if it's happening again. And for those of you just tuning in, if you did not know, Manny Pacquiao and Mike Tyson Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson are scheduled to fight in the exhibition. And then subsequently afterwards, Floyd and Manny Pacquiao are going to go fight in a full-blown professional bout that will actually count for the record on September 19th. My gosh, my goodness. I'm shocked. I'm going to tell you this, though. It makes sense. I don't like it, but it makes sense. Because we were speculating who in the world would Floyd Mayweather want to come back for. We argued maybe a fight with Tank because that would naturally blow the roof off everybody's house. Who would have thought he's going to fight his own protege? The storyline between Floyd Mayweather and Terrence Crawford. They were in position. If he had stayed around a little bit longer, they could have fought each other, but now you can finally get that answer. We brought up Pacquiao as a potential second fight, but again, we didn't know people wanted to see it. Well, people still want to see it, I guess. It's been on ESPN. It's been on NBC. Every big promotional company has been saying this fight is a huge fight. People still want to see it. Now, me personally, I, for one, do not. Be clear. Because I don't think this is going to be as competitive a fight. At the same time, I am saying that because I don't know how Floyd is going to look. The question isn't about Manny Pacquiao anymore. We saw Pacquiao fight at minimum at a Mario Barrios level. And for somebody 46 years old, hey, yeah, that's impressive. He should have gotten that win and should have been a champion. We've seen him fight at a championship caliber. He is a championship level fighter, no matter how low you think that bar is for the standpoint of 147. He is a championship caliber fighter. He could have a competitive fight with Brian Norman Jr. He could have a competitive fight with just about every single fighter at the 147-pound division right now. He could. Even Ryan Garcia versus Pacquiao is a fight that can be entertained because of what Pacquiao was able to do against Barrios. And with what Ryan was able to do against Barrios, look, you got an actual one-to-one comparison. You can say Ryan can beat him, absolutely. But you can't say that Pacquiao doesn't deserve to win. If that fight got made, okay, I get it. You can look at it. You can look at the Pacquiao versus the Rolly Romero as an actual competitive affair. Floyd Mayweather is 49 years old. He's about to be 50. He's getting ready to fight in the exhibition with Mike Tyson, who's about to be 60. 59 at the moment. We've seen Pacquiao degrade immensely when it comes to his own caliber of talent and skill, while fighting people that, again, aren't pushing him. Deji, popular YouTuber brother of KSI, he didn't push him. Gotti fought John Gotti the second, or third, fought John Gotti the third, excuse me. Fought him twice in non-competitive bouts. Fought Logan Paul. That's been his cash-in resume. He fought, who's the dude that fought, Takuma Inoue? Tenshin. That's what it was. Tenshin, Nasukawa. Tenshin Nasukawa. He fought Tenshin Nasukawa in his first ever professional fight when Tenshin was still a full-time kickboxer. Ultimately, Tenshin went to boxing full-time and got himself a championship opportunity and turned to a real knockout artist at the bantamweight division. But before that, outweighed by 40 pounds and got put out in one round. That wasn't the test. What does Floyd have left at all? After almost 8 years of inactivity, 10 years after his fight with Manny Pacquiao, and a clear sign that you ain't the same Floyd that you used to be. No matter how fit you're able to keep your body. Mind you, Mike Tyson looked fit as a fiddle. Still looks fit today. But fighting-wise, completely different. You look at the likes of stinking Bernard Hopkins. Same fighter. Not Bernard Hopkins, excuse me. That's different. He fought consistently up until the age of 49. That's different. Evander Holyfield looked the part immensely, but got beat out by Vitor Belfort. Insane. Wasn't even close. Wasn't competitive. Yeah, he was drugged up on steroids in terms of Belfort, but even still, didn't have no business fighting in the ring. Roy Jones Jr. He's been an active fighter. And he don't need to be fighting no more. I'll be completely honest. Floyd has to prove himself. Not against Mike Tyson, but against an actual fighter. Before I can say what his chances are against Pacquiao. Now, yes, he beat him before. Yeah, he can beat him again. But he beat him in part because he also had the speed and capacity to line up with him. I don't know whether he's got the speed and capacity to still line up with Manny Pacquiao at this stage right now, because I haven't seen him pushed at that level of a fight that means something. I haven't seen him pushed like that in a mighty long time. Haven't seen him pushed like that in a mighty long time. Mighty long time. So what has he lost? A lot. And that defense may actually be vulnerable. And he might have slowed down the same way that Floyd Mayweather waited just long enough, or at least that was the argument, that Floyd Mayweather waited out Pacquiao up until he was in the right position to fight him and beat him, as was when the fight was finally at a fever pitch that was, okay, we got to make it now or we're going to lose out on money. The same way that happened, as per speculation, We can see that same thing be happening now, where Floyd Mayweather is now at the just slow enough speed. The reaction time is just slow enough. And with all the stuff that Pacquiao has been able to retain at this age, we might be able to see an upset. Might be able to see Pacquiao get back. And it's a risk because Floyd Mayweather, like I said previously, is built on his legacy. Or rather, let me rephrase that. Floyd Mayweather's legacy is built off of that record in big part. The biggest thing about Floyd is that he's 50-0. Pacquiao's losses haven't defined him as a fighter. He's one of the 10 greatest fighters I've ever seen. And it's broken records that most likely won't be broken ever again. His greatness is already undeniable, as is Floyd's. But the difference is what it's based off of. The foundation for Floyd is he's undefeated, even more so than the fighter that he was. Which the fighter that he was is and was phenomenal. But if he loses that hope, the very thing that changed the landscape of the boxing world in a business sense and from the way fighters navigate their careers, in part started with Floyd Mayweather, protecting that record. Roy Jones Jr. said it best. He fought people when he didn't fight people that we felt, okay, they were absolutely in a position to beat you because they were at that level. You waited them out or you fought them when they were on a decline. This is Roy Jones Jr.'s words. Heard it argued multiple times before. If that's real, then hey, it is what it is. But regardless of whether it's real or not, the situation stands. He made sure to take care of that record. And we saw it later throughout his career. Especially when he didn't fight Keith Thurman. He fought instead Conor McGregor for that 50th and 0 spot. To get his 50th win. Not even a UFC fighter. Not even a boxer, but a UFC fighter. For that last win on his resume. Carefully curated. Master businessman and marketer. But because of that, his legacy is in part because of that undefeated record. If that gets shattered, a big chunk of his legacy gets shattered in his own mind. Forget the boxing public. In his own mind. A big chunk of what Floyd Mayweather feels about his own legacy is shattered. And he would only take this fight, similar to Floyd, if it was a fight that he knew he could absolutely win. And I don't think it's going to be as easy as he may think, because I don't know if he understands exactly where his body is in a professional situation. Though that sounds disrespectful, because we're talking about Floyd Mayweather, and if anybody knows what their body is capable of, it's him. I understand that completely. I also understand that he's been so far out the ring for so long. You can get comfortable with the mediocrity of fights that you've been fighting. And when it's time to turn it up, it ain't always as easy. Even for the greatest that we've seen. Or one of the greatest that we've seen. It can be a sketchy slope. It can really be. Let me see. You think Keith would have beaten Floyd at that point in time? Keith Thurman. I can't remember if this was before or after Pacquiao. But Keith Thurman was one of the biggest threats against Floyd Mayweather. He was one of the biggest threats against Floyd. And we remember that talk, that conversation when Keith was at the highest of highs. He was up there. Especially when Floyd was still incredible. Even at the age, he was still able to keep on winning. But there were a slew of people, Keith Thurman being one of them, that I'm not saying he would have beat him. Because if Pacquiao could beat him, yeah, absolutely, Floyd could beat him. But I'm saying that the capacity of threat level with what Keith Thurman was looking like at that point in time, yeah, he was a threat. And he could have. Don't forget, Errol Spence was also at 147. He could have fought that fight as well. There's a lot of people that could have gone down. And so, it's a conversation. I'm not saying it would have happened, but I'm saying it definitely is a conversation that Keith Thurman could have beaten Floyd, may have been able to beat Floyd Mayweather. I would have still picked Floyd, yeah. But I understood, boy, that's a test. That's a big test against that version of Keith. That could have been something. That could have. As well as, again, what I would have loved to see Errol Spence versus Floyd, what that would have looked like at 147. I would have loved to see what that would have been like. Shoot, I think we just missed the mark for Floyd Mayweather fighting Terrence Crawford. As Terrence was moving and improving in his career, getting to 147. I would have loved to see that fight. My gosh. That would have been great. But again, but even still, dreams and nightmares is what it could have been. But my gosh, we're in reality now. And reality is we going to have ourselves potentially maybe a closer fight. Or it could be a straight up, yeah, Floyd just does what he did before. It could be. But we're going to find out as we get more sparring footage, training footage, and a better acumen to see what exactly Floyd has left in the tank. Because that's what I'm interested in the most. At least when we watching. Let me see. I got my new Fire Stick. I'm not paying for Barry, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it absolutely. And if you ain't going to pay for it, I get it. This is a cash grab. And I understand because there's a lot of people that see this as this fight ain't worth a hill of beans. We don't need to see this. I understand. We want to watch it, but we ain't paying no $89.99. We ain't paying no $100 like we did last time. Gosh, $100 for that pay-per-view. My gosh, my word, $100 for that pay-per-view was Pacquiao versus Floyd. Are you kidding me? Shoot, man. That's insane. That's insane. But regardless of which, people will pay. They don't even got to pay. Well, they are going to pay because it's on Netflix. You don't even need your Fire Stick this time because it's on Netflix. You can just, if you have a Netflix account, or just go to somebody's house, put it on. Go to a bar, it's on there. Go to a sports outlet, it's on there. You probably gonna be able to see it wherever you are. You can probably go to the mall, and they can probably have it up there because it's on Netflix. So shoot, make a day out of it. Grill out for it. Cause I know I'm gonna be seeing it. Absolutely. Brandon Gatlin, was it? Glanton, excuse me, I'm almost say Gatlin. Brandon Glanton with the upset. Who is he fighting? Let me check it real quick. Brandon. Next. Who is he fighting? Who's his next fight? Who's in words is Gatlin's next fight? I've actually been pretty interested. Hold on. Here we go. Hold on. Wait a minute. Oh. Wait. He's fighting Jaya Pattaya? He's fighting Jaya Pattaya? Did I miss this? Wait a minute. Did I miss this? Brandon Glanton's fighting Jaya Pattaya? For the IBF and Ring Magazine? Wait a minute. When did this get announced? Unless I'm forgetting something. Unless I broke the news and I'm just subsequently forgetting. When did this happen? I'm so confused. I feel like I broke this, but I can't remember for sure. Or I told y'all. I said he signed with Apex. Or I said he signed with Zupa. I said he was going to defend his IBF title. I don't think I ever looked up who. Shoot. Well, that actually might be a pretty good fight. I'm not going to lie. That's his opponent. 21-3 with 18 knockouts. Jaya Pattaya again being undefeated with just about, I think, 19 or 20 knockouts on his own resume. Yeah, that somebody's going to sleep. Now, most likely it's going to be Brandon Glanton. I'm not going to lie, but we're going to see some stuff moving. I can't wait to see it, absolutely. No question about it. Keith, you seen the hairline. see, we ain't gonna get into that. What is happening to Keith is back in the ring? That's the biggest thing. He's gotta get past Fundora first before we can make anything else about whatever is going on with him. Bud versus Floyd. That's when Goku joins the event. Oh, shoot. Hey, man, I would love to see Floyd Mayweather versus Bud at 147 in a professional fight as the only thing to get Crawford out of retirement. I'm not going to lie. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. Because it may be an old fight, but it's a dream fight. And we can get an answer, at least in some case, as to who would be who. Now, we can assume at this point in time, Crawford would beat up Floyd Mayweather. But if we can see Floyd come and make it, make it great, that would be an insane. You want to talk about a fight. Now, that's a fight that people will be paying $100 for, just by the sheer absurdity and notoriety. Crawford's come out of retirement. Floyd wants to fight one of the greatest of this era. If Floyd beats Crawford, now, oh my gosh, that would be insane. That would be incredible. Also, we got people in chat, like with Mr. Miyagi. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show with us on today. How is Jiu-Jitsu Kaisen treating you? It's treating me great. Now, I took a break. Mind you, I took a break only because, like I said, I watched the seasons, watched the movie, took a break so I can make sure I'm getting through One Piece as well as starting. I'm late to the party, but speed running Don to Don. So I got like I said, sadly everything when One Piece gets back into the equation, everything gets moved out the way. That's the problem. That's the problem. And so, and I am slogging through Dressrosa. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that point in the story was that long. Oh my gosh, it's intriguing, but my word, Dressrosa and One Piece made me put aside Jujutsu Kaisen in the next season because my goodness, I have to work my way through. It's picking up now. As we're getting closer and closer to Luffy and Don Flamingo getting ready to fight. But my word, my goodness, man. I was like, there's no way. I couldn't even enjoy Jujutsu Kaisen and watching the rest of the season because of the fact that I kept drudging that I would have to go back and flip through Dressrosa. And it was like, it sucked. I almost sucked life out of some of the other series. But like I said, we're going to power through. It's still, again, One Piece still greatest anime I've ever seen. I will hang my hat on that. That and stinking Attack on Titan, as well as Cowboy Bebop. And personal favorite, Hajime no Ippo. Some of the greatest works of fiction we've seen. But this art, boy, oh Lord, it's something serious, man. But also, let me see, Tay, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show with us on today. We are still in the championship round, so we want to give you the chance to say whatever you want to say in the world of boxing as a whole. Appreciate you tuning in on the show. Regis versus Conor Ben is a joke. We covered that earlier in the show. That price tag, $15 million for a one-fight deal with Regis Prograis, of all people, is a steal. Highway robbery for the likes of Conor Ben. Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. And again, I don't even know if he's going to stick with Zuffa after this fight. We know it's going to be an easy win for Conor Ben. Regis Prograis ain't got, no disrespect, Prograis ain't got no shot in this fight. Ain't got a shot at all in this, not at all in this fight. And I'm going to tell you this right now. This is stealing money. Stealing money. It's on the undercard of Tyson Fury versus Makhmudov. It's supposed to make people exciting. Big name leading to another big name in the UK. Going through and it should end in a knockout. Get everybody anticipated for Tyson Fury's ultimate return. But value-wise, yeah, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it at all. Also, I already talked about what Mr. Miyagi talking about Jujutsu Kaisen. Skip to the end and stop watching One Piece. See, here's the thing. I've gotten so sunken into the show. I can't not finish it. Like, I can't. Mind you, I got life. I got business. I got a lot of things I'm trying to work out behind the scenes for this channel. I'm doing a lot of stuff now. I'm still an anime head. I'm going to work my way through. I'm going to make a way. I'm going to find a way. Just like I did with Jujutsu Kaisen. At the same breath, though, is that time, life has made it a little less tangible to be able to just okay, I can binge watch 8 to 10 shows or 8 to 10 hours of show like I would love to do. Not because I'm trying to be lazy, because I do love the content. But we got stuff moving. Yeah, we got some things that we trying to get in place. So I gotta pick and choose when I can. And as much as as much as I would love to, I've been looking at myself and saying, "Hey man, in my own life, I gotta get my stuff together. I gotta get my sleep together. I gotta get life together as a whole." So some things we've had to we avoid spoilers. Try to limit stuff on social media so I don't get spoiled with stuff. And you make out whatever time you can throughout the week to slowly slog your way through. But we're gonna make it work nonetheless. Because again, I'm too invested. Too invested. I gotta make it happen. I have to. That's just me. And plus, and one last thing, I got a thing where like I can't just sit and just skip to the end and like just pick out I don't need to watch filler, just watch it. I like watching the whole thing. When I watched Naruto, I watched every episode. I only skipped maybe one episode or two. I only skipped 2 episodes out of all 500, and I watched every movie as well. So I'm like, I got it from start to finish. If I'm gonna see it, I'm gonna see it all. So that's sadly it's my own demise, but it's a demise I'll happily take. But let me see. What does it say if Connor knocks out Regis, which is one of Haney's best wins? Well, if it say it's expected. It is expected. It's expected. If Connor knocks out Regis Progress, it's expected that that's supposed to happen. Now that does not mean, in a sense, as Mr. Miyagi, as you would say, that would be a nasty hit on Haney's resume if everyone saying Ben is, because everyone's saying Ben is trash. Well, look, there's 2 sides to that equation. Conor Ben is not a bad fighter. And Regis Progress is one of the best performances that Haney has had in his career. Both are true. If Haney, or if Progress gets beat by Conor Ben, especially the current version of Regis Progress as a fighter, most of us look at Regis Progress as, okay, yeah, this guy, the grading of his skill set, we see it as being there. We see it there. He's not nearly the same visceral threat that we were seeing him as earlier in his career at the point in time when he fought against Devin Haney. So it wouldn't be necessarily a big hit, in my opinion, if he got beat by Conor Ben against Haney. I wouldn't see it as a big hit against Haney. What I would see it as is, okay, Conor Ben fighting at 140 beat Regis in a better way, or just as good of a way as we saw Devin Haney beat him. That's what's supposed to happen. If something less than that happens for Conor Ben, we got a problem. We have a problem. If something less than that happens when Conor Ben fights Devin Haney, or when Conor Ben fights Regis Progress, that is bad on Conor Ben. That is horrible on Conor Ben. Conor Ben has no choice but to have a devastating performance on the side of putting out Progress, put him to sleep, or completely put to the post, wiping the floor with him. There's no choice. If he wants to keep his relevancy with the likes of fighting at 140, fighting against Tank Davis, fighting against a Lamont Welch, a Shakur Stevenson, even the validity of him fighting Rolly Romero, he can't look bad against Regis Progress. He can't. He cannot. This is a gimme fight for the current state of Regis Progress. If he loses this or looks bad in this, but that's not an indictment on Devin Haney. That's an indictment on Regis Progress. Or excuse me, rather, that's an indictment on Conor Ben. That's terrible. That's horrible. That is horrible. My gosh. And so, but I wouldn't say that if he beats him, it's bad on Devin Haney. That it simply is, you're supposed to beat him. Conor Benn's supposed to beat him. Now, if Conor Ben goes up and all of a sudden, let's say he gets a fight with Ryan Garcia, and let's say hypothetically he knocks him out. Oh my goodness. That's a whole nother can of worms on the good side for Conor Ben, and then on the bad side of Devin Haney. That would be bad for Devin Haney's optics and look, at least in my opinion. But excuse me, I'm sorry. Let me get something to drink real quick. Also, we're at the 2-hour, 30-minute mark. So just to be clear, we gotta do last calls because we said that this is gonna be for 30 minutes to an hour. We had an hour, and so we're gonna last calls, last couple of chats and conversations for the world of boxing and sports as a whole. We want to hear from you, no question about it. Let me see. I'm excited for the weekend. Nunes versus Navarrete. I am as well. It's going to be a phenomenal fight, a phenomenal tenure, a phenomenal war. Two absolute abrupt knockout artists going at it against each other in what's going to be a bloody affair. And this is arguably going to be the most dangerous fight that we've seen Emmanuel Navarrete be in his career, going up and fighting against Nunes. Now, at the same breath, for Nunes, it's the same thing, because Nunes has never faced off against somebody this much of an unorthodox killer before, with this much of a capacity for length and strength when it comes to his odd angles, sweeping the floor uppercuts. The volume and cadence at which he punches is such an abnormality. He fights like a horror picture. He fights like a horror movie villain. Navarrete fights like a monster at the end of a horror movie, with limbs abounding and just almost a unique, I don't want to call it animalistic, but uncanny type of movement, while he's also gotten better defensively in his own right as a boxer. This man is with a chin to boot. Yeah, this cat, he is I went from a hater to a fan. And I can't wait to see him go up against the quick hitting, powerful hooking Nunes, who is a workhorse in his own right. More so with the fundamental aspects of boxing, but laden with one thing in mind. I want to put you to sleep. One hit destruction. Two hit diabolical bulldozing nature. He is incredible. And he is dangerous. But the one thing I've never seen, I don't think I've ever seen Nunes backed up before. I've seen Navarrete get backed up, but then be able to fight while backing up and still be destructive. I haven't seen Nunes be able to do that. And if Nunes starts fighting on the back foot, which he's going to be fighting on the back foot against Emmanuel Navarrete, if he can't counter on the Kingdom Come like we saw with Wilson in Navarrete's first stint at 130, if he can't do that, I don't think it's just going to be one hit that takes him out. And I do think that Nunes may be in a rude awakening when he goes and fights against the likes of Emmanuel Navarrete. And I think we're going to see Emmanuel get a KO. I do. I think we're going to see him get knocked out. Like drinking, enjoying my drink, but I think we're gonna see him get knocked out. I think we're gonna see him get himself a very worthwhile and hard-fought KO, and we're gonna see Navarrete win and retain. I can't remember. Is this for a unified title or is it for just one belt? Let me check and see real quick. Navarrete versus Nunes. Is it for the world title or is it for a unification? Okay, it is unification. IBF and WBO unification. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Oh, that's gonna be fun. And I'm telling you, I want Navarrete to win. Not just because I think he will actually win and beat the likes of Nunes, but it's because I want to see him make the leap to 135. I want to see it. 39-0, 32 KOs on his resume. Navarrete, again, 29-1, 27 KOs is Nunes. I want to see if Neverete can get past this test. I want to see what he can do at 130, or excuse me, at 135, or at 130 against O'Shaquie Foster. Foster's called out a lot of names. He ain't called out Neverete. I'll tell you that. O'Shaquie Foster's called out a lot of names. He ain't called out Neverete. I've said this before. It's not that maybe Neverete can be unbeatable. Again, he has been beaten. But since getting into the full, or really getting into the full prime of his career, really working and turning into a destructive force of nature, I don't see this man being an easy out for anybody. Even if you're a great technical technician. That's redundant. Let me rephrase it. Even if you're a great technician with some pop, it's still the uniqueness of Neverete makes him so hard, not just to figure out, but to even get comfortable with. When you have control, you can't do it. You can't do it. And this current iteration could give O'Shaquie Foster a world of trouble. Even with how snappy O'Shaquie is, he can give him a world of trouble. And he can give people at 135 a world of trouble. Like with Abdullah Mason, he can. He can give Floyd Schofield a world of trouble. If he ever does move up, man. So I can't, if he gets it done, I can't wait. Also, thank you, Mr. Miyagi, in for the help with the unification talking conversation. I have no idea who's winning this. This is a straight up war. The Mexican Benavidez versus the Wild Man. But I have to edge. I have to edge it to Nunes. Neverete has been hurt by weaker punchers, but he has that drive. He's been hurt when he got to this division earlier. Yeah, absolutely. But it's a 50-50 fight. Because Neverete brings a type of Terminator-like, not just appeal, but a Terminator-like engine to every fight that he's in. The high volume picks up, and the stamina seems to get even better. By the time rounds 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 come about, the damage that he's even able to be absorbed seemingly doesn't go through and diminish the last stretch run to end the show. Everybody else has faltered when put up against that type of essentially wall of punishment. Not because they're not giving it out as well, but because now it's still not stopping. And unlike with what they've had with other opponents, when you think he's going to wane, he just keeps on elevating. He keeps on elevating. He keeps on elevating. He again, I call him a horror show because it's not that you can't hit him. It's not that you can't hurt him. It's the fact that you will not be able to win the fight because you can't end the fight. You can't. The second he gets one round, all of a sudden the tide turns in a way that you feel helpless. I've seen boxers, whether it's Oscar Valdez, whether it's Wilson, whether it's anybody else fighting against Emmanuel Neverete, whenever Neverete gets one round, all of a sudden, no matter how good we say the other fighter go, we see a look of helplessness across the ring. One standpoint of the opponent of Neverete, because Neverete continues to be this constant, just a constant force that, unlike Sabril Matias, is a lot better technically, though he's incredibly wild. And he will continue to punish, and you feel it, and you just to get to where you got in this point in the fight, you had to deal with some real work and some real damage. And now you've been trying to put on a good face, but you're getting bruised up. You're getting beat up. Your body's starting to take hits. You're getting hit with shots now that you didn't see before. All of a sudden, you're getting hit with more stuff that's coming from blind spots. You are still trying to be relentless, but you keep feeling the constant pains of defeat. You keep getting caught with stuff, and every time you land, you don't feel like you're making traction. The hole doesn't seem to get bigger, yet the grass is dying around you, and you can't figure out where to go or what to do. And the only recourse you have as you feel the fight slipping away, you gotta go to even more war with them. And if you do that, that's even worse. That's even worse. If Nunes can knock him out, phenomenal. But if Nunes can't take the punishment in the walk to get the knockout, this is a similar situation that we had to Dalton Smith. Dalton Smith versus Subriel Matias. If Subriel is a fight guy later, if your power couldn't get him out of there, you're gonna be in a world of trouble. You're gonna be in a world of trouble. And we saw it as Subriel started to gain some ground. And the momentum started to shift. But then afterwards, Dalton Smith said, okay, I gotta stand and bang with him. And he pulled it out. He did it. Yeah, absolutely. He did it. But my gosh, if you don't, because it's gonna fall into that type of vein, you're gonna feel like a avalanche of snow. You're trying to climb up, but the snow keeps falling. It keeps crumbling. The mountainside keeps on eroding under your feet, and you can't understand why. No matter how much you dig in your heels, that is the type of monstrous momentum that we can see Navarrete bring to the table. That's what makes this fight so scary, but also incredibly exciting. Can Navarrete, or rather can Nunes, stop that erosion early? Can he stop it early? Because if it gets late and he's still there, the question is going to be, can you just give out power? Now it is, can you take it? Because you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. It's going to be, I can't wait, man. It is a 50-50 fight, like you said, but man, I can't wait for that fight. Oh, it's going to be so exciting. But let me see, appetite fitting to get upset. Look, if we see Brandon get this fight and get it done, if we do see somehow, some way, if we do see Appetite get upset by the likes of who was what he was fighting? Who was it? Hold on, I had the name. I done lost it. Brandon, that's what's Brandon. If he gets beat by Brandon Galton, I'm sorry, Brandon Glanton, that would be cool. Good gosh. Should we have ever entertained a fight with Zurdo Ramirez? Most likely not. It's an even easier path for Benavidez to get undisputed. And also, the biggest investment in the likes of Zuffa, or the second biggest investment, in the likes of Zuffa with Jai Appetite, would be down the gutter if he lost to Brandon as the first fight of the first premier star that they've had under their belt. That would be horrible. This fight should be a fight that Jai Appetite is able to win pretty handily, pretty destructively. Though, again, there's a danger of him getting knocked out because the other opponent does have some great power. But it should be easy work. I don't think he's going to get upset. If he does, though, hey, you called it. If he does, you called it. Truth, if he goes and gets knocked out or gets beat and upset, I will be the first to say, hey, Truth, you know more than me. I'll be the first to say, you know more than me. I'll be the first to say, because my gosh, I could not dream. I couldn't dream of him getting put out. I couldn't dream of it. I'm sorry, something. Had an itch there. But I'm not dirty. Be clear. I'm not, I'm not dirty. I think there's something. I did shave, and I think there's something. I think I got some hair on my shirt. I thought I had cleaned up. But anyway, regardless of which, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. But again, looking good comes at the price, so we're okay. But if you get it right, man, I'll be shocked. I will be incredibly shocked, no question about it. But even still, we gotta go. We gotta get out of here. We thank you all for tuning into the show. We appreciate your time. Last call one more time. Is there anything else anybody wants to say on the day in reference to boxing or beyond? Let me see. Mr. T, Sakimoto Days, Kaiji number 8. Sentenced to be a hero. I haven't heard of Jack of all. Now I haven't heard of Jack of all trades. I gotta look into that one. I gotta look into that one. I gotta look into Jack of all trades. I have not heard of that one. That's a new show for me. Now it sounds interesting, but I want to find out what it is. Tell me about it. Well, I'll look it up myself, and I'll give it a try amongst the other animes that I'm watching as well. But if there's nothing else anybody wants to say, if everybody's gotten their fill of content and fun and excitement, we're going to wrap this show up, send it home, and get on out of here. So with all of that being said, this has been another episode of The Welch Report with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. You all were wonderful. We thank you all for supporting on the channel. Y'all made this show oh so spectacular. We had a time, we had a blast, and we're going to be back on Friday covering the world of boxing and beyond with the championship rounds all on Friday afternoon. Let you all control the entirety of the show, not just an hour, but the whole of the show, all for your viewing and listening pleasure. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and chatted on stream. Y'all were spectacular. Y'all were wonderful. Y'all were beautiful. We thank you all for chatting and engaging on the conversation. If you would like to support the channel, real quick, because I don't want the stream to cut out again. If you would like to support the channel, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as super chats, super gifts, stickers, and the like through YouTube and their gift system at the bottom of the chat screen. If you would like to support the channel, would mean the world to me to help pay the bills, as well as to help invest back into the show to make it better for you, the listener, and the viewer all across the globe. Rate us 5 stars on every podcasting platform. You can listen to the podcast at the end of the day today, and when these episodes get uploaded to Spotify, Apple, and every major podcast imaginable. Also, be sure to leave a like on the video before you leave. Comment your thoughts and opinions on what you liked or didn't like about the channel. Be sure to go through and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Come join the empire, and be sure to share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. We're going to be back on Friday, talk about more about boxing world and beyond. Be sure to be here, same time, same place, same channel. It's been great to be with you all. It's been beautiful. It's been wonderful. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been absolutely wonderful. Peace and love. Oh, we are out here. Yes, sir. We are going to see you all on Friday. Be safe. Be blessed. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Peace and love. Salute to you. And we out of here.